freaking respect.
Folks, welcome on into the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA. We are live once again. Welcome on in, everybody. Settle in. It is Monday, February 16th. We're more than halfway through the month already. What the fuck? What the fuck? Reese Man has hit the Order of Romeo. Hell yeah, brother. Well, folks, it is a dingy, drab February day. It's like February, man. It's a February. It's a February. And also Happy New Year. 80 and overcast? No. It's like 50. Oh, we have a hype train. That's a good way to start the morning. Chat wanted me to tell you. So what are we talking about today? I even forgot that John Oliver existed. I, honest to God, forgot that John Oliver existed. But here he is. He has a show. I guess the vacation is over. It's only halfway through February. So there is a new episode on Ice and DHS with your last week tonight with John Oliver. As an Egyptian American, I never thought I'd be so happy and relieved to see an English man again. Obviously, the sanctions in Cuba are continuing with the ultimate goal of causing starvation, which apparently would then cause people to, I don't know, they're supposed to turn on the government and attack the government. Like, I'm not really sure. Shit, almost forgot about the stream. Was listening to AOC's talk. Which one? And then obviously AOC 2028. A bunch of people got mad at me because I said the truth, chat, and it's going to continue to be the truth. And I want you to mark down everybody who denies it. I want you to mark down people that are like, especially the people that were big Bernie Sanders supporters in 2020. I want you to mark down those people who are like, I don't know about AOC, but JB Pritzker or Auntie Bashir or John Ossoff. Bro, that's fucking stupid. Those guys suck shit. Are you fucking okay? So we're obviously going to be talking about that. Will Trump disrupt the midterm elections? There's a new report from the BBC that I wanted to take a look at. Excuse me. And they passed their little voter suppression bill. And this bill is one of those bills where if you don't see a problem with this bill, it's because you don't know anything about American politics. You don't understand American politics in a serious and substantive way, which is they are not doing this because they want to make sure the elections are secure. They are doing this so they can selectively apply the law and disenfranchise people so that they could disproportionately block voters who do not support the Republican Party. It's not that complicated. They didn't suddenly figure out that they care about election integrity. The president of the United States is Donald Trump. Are you okay? He tried to send in a bunch of fake electors. It's not that hard. Not that complicated. Hi, Poopy Dan. We're going to talk about that. And of course, more and more people are coming to the realization that now is the time for AOC. And there's not even really a reason to wait. You know, like, I think a lot of people have this mindset of like, well, I don't know, AOC this, AOC that. Some sort of like really weird objection that doesn't seem to be based on anything. Popularity, she's very popular. Policy, she's one of the most left-wing on policy. So like, it's just time to I know she's a millennial. I know that it makes you feel like a failure that someone who's your age or younger is actually in position to run for president or whatever the fuck else is going on in people's heads. Psychosexual obsession. And I think a lot of people, who are not really even that left wing, made hay kind of insulting AOC because the way that the algorithm works is right wingers have been psychosexually obsessed with her since 2018. And so anytime you would say something negative about AOC, you would have a pile on of right wing support. And so you think that you're getting like left wing support for your anti AOC position, but in reality, you aren't. So it has created this online bubble of people who think there's a big, strong anti-AOC sentiment But no, people really like Andy Bashir. No one knows who the fuck that guy is. His name recognition is a third of what hers is. What the fuck are you talking about? And on policy, he's way to her right. He's a fucking Zionist. Are you okay? Slap yourself. Slap yourself. She's been in office since 2019. She won in 2018. No, I'm not okay, Mike, but thanks. She's a brown woman, so people are weird about her. Yes, they really are. Yes, they really, really fucking are. So let's take a look, you know, going forward. Will Donald Trump attempt to disrupt the midterms? What do you guys think? I mean, I think there's no doubt he's going to use ICE to do it. It seems to me that you are very, very, very naive if you don't think he will.
Democratic Party is expanding the number of congressional districts it's looking to win in this year's midterm elections. This morning, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee unveiled 5 additional districts it is targeting this November. That brings the total number of districts the Democrats consider in play to 44. Republicans currently hold a slim majority, 218 to 214 in the House. And this morning, there was a new development in the upper chamber of Congress.
This is perfect for 2026 because I'm running.
I thought that was AI for a second. Maine Republican Senator Collins announced she is running for re-election this fall in response to the DCC said, in part, quote, Mainers have had enough of Collins' 3-decade career and, quote, will vote her out. I want to bring in CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro. Good morning, Aaron. So what is the president? Did you see that ad?
Yeah, I got to get some New Balances.
The funny thing about Susan Collins is when she first ran, she ran on only running 2 terms. I always found that shit to be so interesting, how people will pledge to only run for a couple terms and then just keep running and then no one brings it up again. It's
If elected, would you vote for congressional term limits? And I'd like to have an answer from each of you.
Let's start with Sue Collins.
I do support term limits, and I have pledged that if I'm elected, I will only serve 2 terms, regardless of whether term limits law, a constitutional amendment passes or not. 12 years is long enough to be in public service, make a contribution, and then come home and let someone else take your place.
If elected, would you?
And by the way, term limits are like the perfect normie trap because they don't do anything. And it's like the political equivalent of saying, I can't wait till the boomers die. It's like if it is giving yourself permission to just sit on your fat fucking ass and do nothing because, well, you know, when term limits kick in, then all the bad politicians will be forced out of office and then new people will have to go in. And it's like, you don't think the elite reproduce? You don't think the elite know how to set up a system where they have the inside track? There's term limits all over the country. Which state with term limits has the really good politicians you're all saying we're going to get? There's plenty of states that have term limits. Do they have better politicians? Do they have better politics? You tell me. You tell me. Because I got to tell you, I don't think so. I don't think it has not positively affected anything. Michigan, yeah, exactly. Their politicians suck shit. Capping their income and the income of their family is the only way to curb corruption. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? Term limits strengthen the power of lobbies and parties. Yes, unelectable power is stronger under term limits. That's why conservatives like them. You think conservatives are like, oh man, on this one issue, I've just become principled because term limits, you know, they reduce the power of the rich, which is why I like, no. It's because the answer to why they like term limits is why were term limits enacted for president? Because FDR was so popular because he went after the rich and he redistributed wealth. And so people were like, you know, I really like FDR. I trust FDR. And they were like, the guy was winning every fucking election. He was visibly going to die and he was winning the elections anyway. What's up, King Daddy D-Mac? Did you see Hassan messing with a soundboard last night? Yes, I yelled at him to stop.
Clav against Dasha? No. Oh, that's
Dasha, Nekrasova, and Kachyan. They love you.
Sounds like nobody's.
No.
No! Oh, no! No.
I mean, they objectively are. Like, they are objectively nobodies. Like, not like Dasha is blowing up. Like, what platforms are Dasha blowing up? They are objectively nobodies. They were side characters of Chapo, side characters of side characters. Like, who are we kidding? It went viral once in what, 2016? Like, and it's for yelling at the exact people they're now allied with. Like, what are we talking about here? Of course they're fucking irrelevant.
They love you.
Who the fuck gave this man a soundboard? Who the fuck gave this man a soundboard? Somebody come forward and confess to giving this man a fucking soundboard. He's not him. He is absolutely not him on the question of soundboard usage.
If you give me power, I know how to use it. That's why I'm afraid almost of myself.
That's a proper soundboard use, okay? Why the fuck is he doing wacky, like, AM radio soundboard shit? And I hate the fa noise. I think the fa noise is so overplayed. It's like, honestly, isn't it kind of played out among Zoomers at this point? Like, even Zoomers don't really like it that much.
Dasha, Nekrasova, and I caught you. They're obsessed with you. They love you.
Sounds like nobody.
No. They're everybody.
I swear to God, if he keeps hitting that soundboard, I'm going to put a shock collar on him. And every time he hits a solid soundboard fucking clip, I'm going to shock him. Because this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible.
They're like, I'm pretty sure they're friends with Elena Velez. And they were at the show. They love you. They love your mog. They're great.
I feel
Hassan's assessment is, I'm going to gain Gen Alpha and lose 35 plus viewers is so accurate, except for the part where he gains anyone. There is a moment in every creator's career who has success for an extended period of time that their audience starts to age up. You know, they go from being the cool new thing to the mainstay. They become part of the industry, a pillar, and gray hairs start popping out. All right. And people start requesting childcare at their concerts. Okay. Because people have moved on to a different stage in their life. It doesn't mean you're not popular anymore. It just means that you're getting older and you need to accept that you're not a hot young thing anymore. You are the mainstay. You are the pillar. Move the fuck on. Because those people that try to grasp desperately at the youth from middle age, it never works out. Okay? It never fucking works out. Age gracefully. Rare L take. If you find this to be an L take, your self-awareness almost flickered for a moment. It's funny because it is cringe, Mike. If a millennial wants people to cringe, they just need to be themselves. He doesn't need a special button for it. Okay? I hate that you're right. Yeah, no shit. Mike was wrong. You're a fan of this?
Oh!
You're a fan of this?
Oh, no! No. No. Oh, no. No.
They love you. Dasha, Nekrasova, and I caught you. They're obsessed with you. They love you.
sounds like nobody.
No. They're everybody's.
Yesterday, Hassan was talking about how he and I have different takes on some things, and we're good friends and allies or whatever. People need to be okay with us like disagreeing on some stuff. And this motherfucker is what you guys. It's fine. It's fine. I have a bunch of. You are the oldest millennials in Hassan's community. If you watch me, you are an elder millennial 99% of the fucking time. Okay, you naturally vibe with me because you're old. All right, it's okay. Either you are old or you're old at heart. All right. And that's good. That's good. It's good. Worshipping youth. It's fucking creepy. Epstein coded. Enjoy all parts of life. Maturity. Civic virtue. Those are all good things. It's not just about being an 18-year-old. Stop watching coming of age content. You're an adult now. You're not in high school anymore. Let it fucking go. That's true, but whimsy is not exclusive to youth. You're talking to Mr. Whimsical over here. You're talking, whimsy has nothing to do with what I'm saying. Talk about grasping desperately at youth. Stop reading YA fiction. You sound very anti-whimsy right now. All right, let's hop into some good old content. We got Penguin Zero, Moist Critical. Let's do ourselves a nice Moist Critical react about the Epstein files. Moist Call. That's how he spells his name, with a K. His name is Moist Critical with a K.
All right, man. And this new tactic that they're pulling out for the Epstein files, that they're really digging in deep in the John Madden playbook for, is unbelievably ridiculous, even by the standards the circus has already set. This is like if I pissed on your head, but didn't even try and call it rain, I just called it piss. I just say, hey Buster, I'm urinating on you, and you're just supposed to like thank me for it. Last night there was a big bombshell breaking. All Epstein files released. Pam Bondi announces DOJ has released all Epstein files under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, including justified redactions and a list of high-profile names appearing in these documents. When I saw that fresh little nugget drop there, I actually thought that there was a huge Epstein file dump where they actually did unredact everything. Maybe Pam Bondi getting biblically smacked down at that hearing the other day and embarrassing herself actually did lead to these files coming out, the remainder of them. But it turns out that's just a fucking lie. That's just a big-time, full-blown fib. And of course, it was a speed run to community note it as people went to check, only to learn there are no new files. What's being referred to here are the same files that came out a few weeks ago, the 3.5 million files from a couple weeks ago. And now the new thing here is, I guess after Pam Bondi got fucking farmed on Rust by anyone with even a single semblance of a brain at that hearing, she huffed and puffed and then farted out a giant list of names from anyone that was even mentioned anywhere, which includes people like Janis Joplin, who died when Epstein was 17. So this has naturally been called out by a lot of people saying, to have Janis Joplin, who died when Epstein was 17, in the same list as Larry Nassar, who went to prison for the sexual abuse of hundreds of young women and child pornography, with no clarification of how either was mentioned in the files, is absurd, which it is. It's done on purpose with the sole intent of confusing and muddying everything here. They combined the actual, real, evil child sex trafficking clients with just random people's names who appeared in emails like Janis Joplin. This is ridiculous, and it's just blatantly corrupt right in your face. There is no new files here. That is just a lie. Yet for some reason, it's being peddled by tons of people as if it's real. I guess they all got the call, so Alex Jones here preaching about how Pam Bondi just unleashed the full Epstein files. She dropped her trousers and took a shit on this whole narrative that the Epstein files implicate anyone in this administration. In fact, it backfired bigly on the left, on powerful Dems like Bill Clinton. And others busted while fake smears against Trump are bullshit. Vindication for Trump. It's crazy how Alex Jones, for years, was talking about this elite pedophile ring that was raping and torturing and killing children, and now he is finally proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be right. He was completely correct on that, and now he has to pussyfoot around the subject, just tiptoeing, walking on eggshells because some of his friends are in there. Dude went from secretly filming Bohemian Grove to being best buddies with its members. So now, we all know that this is correct. Alex Jones could have taken a victory lap on this shit, but instead he's been preoccupied with 6'7" Labubu and whatever other dog shit that is, and anytime he mentions the Epstein files, he has to do so with Trump's cock in his throat about it. He only focuses on the most easy, low-hanging fruit of the Epstein files like Bill Clinton. Alex Jones explores the Epstein files like this with his hands over his eyes, really scared, making sure to put on the blinders so he could block out all of his friends' names, so he can laser focus on easy shit like Bill Clinton, who everybody knows is guilty in all of this. Real groundbreaking stuff, Goober. It's incredible what a paid shill this guy is. And I just saw he's doing like a press tour about how all of this is the result of Trump, by the way. He went in there and said, you gotta release this now. It's time we fucking release everything unredacted. No more, softball in it. As if Trump was the reason this happened. Even after, for a whole year, Trump has been saying it's a hoax. It's not real. Move on, move on, move on. We gotta stop caring about this Epstein stuff. Does anyone still care about this? No one in America cares about this. Yeah, Alex, I'm sure Trump is the one that went in there and really strong-armed the release of anything. And again, Alex Jones is saying all the files are released now. That is just provably false. That is not.
Isn't it amazing how Alex Jones for years and years and years was talking about the panopticon and how we were going to live under surveillance, prison planet, and the elite pedophiles and them doing their fucking dark rituals and all the child sacrifice and frazzle drip or whatever the fuck it was, all the conspiracy theories, all the shit. Alex Jones was there. screaming about how 9/11 was an inside job and blah, 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 blah. And now he is the fucking mouthpiece of the pedophiles. When more evidence exists than ever to back up the conspiracy theories, he's out there supporting the pedophiles and covering it up. Absolutely fucking insane.
Not true. There are no new files that Pam Bondi just released, Alex. It should be obvious to anyone paying attention, or even just a smidgen of attention. You don't even have to, like, have your eyes glued to it or anything. Even just glancing should be pretty clear, painting an obvious picture that the powers that be are using Alex Jones as a very convenient mouthpiece to regurgitate their shit and defend them, and do a lot of sweeping for them. We are in an era where you have this information at your fingertips, and they are telling you, disregard what your eyes can see and listen to us and nothing else. It's so fucking scary because people are willingly doing it. You can check yourself to see if there are new files that dropped, and it only takes a couple of seconds to get the real answer. No new files have dropped. You can find the truth yourself, and it takes seconds. And they know that, so they're relying on you just being too lazy and too blind and too much of a sheep, so they can just feed you things and have you believe them without bothering to check. So they can just lie and say that Pam Bondi just unleashed the nuke on Epstein. All of it's right there, and it's only Democrats. Look at that! Backfired bigly. And you won't bother to check it yourself. It's craziness. And it sucks that it works so well. If you do bother to do any amount of actual research on the Epstein files, you'll find it's more than just Democrats. It's Democrats and it's Republicans. It's a ton of the world's most powerful people that have engaged in some of the most unthinkable, evil actions imaginable. And these monsters, these fucking worms, treat it like a joke. CoffeeZilla just made a video on it. Howard Lutnick in particular, he's always busting a gut laughing anytime Epstein's even brought up.
I am increasingly disgusted by the way this is all a big joke to liars like Howard Lutnick, who deceived the American public about the status of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
That guy was there. I wasn't going.
Now he testifies under oath that he actually went to the island of the creep and brought his kids.
We had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour. And we left with all of my children.
Nevertheless, every time Epstein is brought up, this guy can't stop chuckling. Here's Lutnick laughing again when Trump is addressing a question about Epstein.
To talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation.
I don't know. I could ask you that question.
He thinks it's the funniest thing he's ever heard. And maybe it's because they really think we are buying it. Maybe it's because they think, hey, we're just gonna get away with this. We can just keep, the lies are so brazen.
They are literally laughing in your face about it. They know they're getting away with it. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. It's just so brazen, like CoffeeZilla said. And then you have people like Alex Jones that are just parroting that same shit like, oh, everyone's absolved except for the people we don't like. And also, by the way, even if it was only the people you don't like that are implicated here and guilty, why aren't they being arrested? Ask yourself that question. Why aren't the people like Bill Clinton being arrested? Why is nobody getting arrested for the Epstein files? I know I've already said this, but even if the only people that were guilty in here are the people you personally don't like, why wouldn't Trump and this administration be going fucking full throttle, whole hog at them, trying to throw them in the slammer? Food for thought, I suppose. Perhaps it's because they know if they went down, it would put them at risk too, because it's not just the people you don't like. You are just so focused on the ones you don't like that you'll block out.
Oh, is there someone I like in the Epstein files? Kill him. Is there someone I like in the Epstein files? Kill him. Seems like I have a pretty principled position. It's not very complicated. If they're in there, I don't like them anymore. They're not my fave anymore. They're in the Epstein files. Kill them. Now, I obviously mean through a properly constituted court where there's a jury trial and they're found guilty and blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying go out there and do any violence. Okay? Obviously. It goes without saying. But I have to do it to prevent a clip. And then, Mike gets banned for saying Epstein file, people in the Epstein files deserve to be, killed. I could definitely see Ashman Gold and Destiny posting that. He's saying violence. He's saying violence. From Orban to Trump, the rise of far-right movements is tightly coordinated and transcends borders. So too should be our international defense of democracy, the fight for working people. From policy to tactics, it's time to take the gloves off and fight for our future. AOC met yesterday with members of center-left Social Democratic Party, the Bundestag, the German parliament, who gave her a tour and sought her advice on messaging and strategy. Today, she's meeting with Die Linke, the Dem Socialist Party. Yes! Yes. By the way, this is called common sense. This is good. Push these dumb fucks to the left. Zelensky sucks. I mean, I don't like German politics, to be honest with you. I think the Germans are in trouble. You know, it's cringe from top to bottom. If I had to be honest, which maybe she'll help them. Okay, maybe she'll help them. And AOC is a famous anti-Zionist, so meeting with her is a sign that there is certainly some space between the current positions on Israel. I think it's starting to crack even in places like Germany.
All of the other shit. You will not use your own fucking brain. Another big thing that's come out that it seems like a lot of mainstream media and a lot of Twitter personalities refuse to speak on is Epstein's potential ties to Israel. It's very weird. Yet no one really seems to want to talk about that connection. Why is that? I just find it odd how you have so many Twitter patriots and mainstream outlets that just outright ignore this potential connection of Epstein and Israel. And Israel is a very important subject in American politics, it seems. Politicians can't stop praising them, glazing them, and Trump in particular, his mouth has become a glory hole for Netanyahu. So don't you think it would be something worth talking about and investigating if there is potentially a tie between Epstein and Israel? I mean, I feel like that would be something that a lot of people would want to know more information about to find out if it's true or not or what's going on there. Because again, every politician in this country, this administration and even previous administrations love to bend over for Israel.
I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate. And I've worked every day to do that.
We need America to wake up and prioritize Israel and bring home his...
This is so good. Voice critical, because Ted Cruz is going to try to run for president again, which is, to me, amazing. Like, there's nothing more amazing to me that Ted Cruz thinks that he could be president. Also, Texas really is all hat, no cattle, huh? They elect the most soft-handed fucking losers to be their politicians. All this Texas tough chest beating, and all their politicians are like soft-handed creeps. You don't have one real rancher. You don't have one military veteran. Nothing. The guy who had his wife insulted on national stage and then became a cuck bitch, and then it got cold that he fled to Mexico. Like, god damn, dude. Ted Cruz.
Israelis, and make sure we stand by our #1 ally in Israel.
That's right. What cause is dear to your heart?
Cause is dear to my Israel. Defensive.
That's the #1. What cause is dear to your heart? And Israel is #1. You're not even Jewish. Like, it'd be one thing if you were like some sort of Zionist who saw like Israel as a refuge for Jewish people because of trauma related to the Holocaust. I may not agree with it, but I could at least understand the logic, right? Like, you could at least understand that logic. But you're a fucking podcaster, white guy, Christian, like Israel first, literally.
Israel.
What is #1?
I have said to people when they ask me, if this Capitol crumbled to the ground, the one thing that would remain is our commitment to our aid, and I don't even call it aid, our cooperation with Israel. That's fundamental to who we...
I'm sorry, chat, but I think if you put the Star of David as your symbol, you are fomenting anti-Semitism if you associate that with Israel. If you want to use religious iconography, can you imagine this was like, and it was the American Italian National Council, right? And there was a fucking cross with Jesus Christ crucified. And somebody went up there and said, my relationship with the Vatican City and Italy is my most important thing. And if this Capitol crumbled, I would want to make sure that money kept flowing to the Vatican City. What? People would rightfully be disgusted by that and be like, what's going on? Why the fuck is like, especially if they were not even, like, imagine the politicians who weren't even Catholic were doing that. You would have to conclude there's some sort of weird shit going on, right? You would have to conclude that there's some sort of influence lobby going on that is corrupting our politics. Why the fuck are they getting... Oh, this is weird. This is uncomfortable. And if the Italian American Council was doing that with the symbols of Roman Catholicism, I'd be like, stop. Stop doing that. Italy, the state, is not the same thing as Roman Catholicism, the religion. Stop trying to force those symbols of a religion into that space. That's inappropriate. That is abuse. And I would speak out against that. Why is it seemingly okay in the opposite direction? It's very weird. It's very weird. And it worry like there's only so much we could do to fight against the tide of anti-Semitism if this is the type of shit that's going on. American politicians pledging loyalty to Israel who are not Jewish and saying the capital of America would fall and they would still be giving money to Israel. I mean, this is real life.
Mr. President. What is it? Green Goblin is attacking New York City. He's causing mass destruction right now. Should we alert Spider-Man?
No! Send $50 billion to Israel right now!
Mr. President. What is it? Green Goblin is attacking New York City.
Honestly, probably one of the funniest memes of all time. Like this
Mr.
shit,
President.
I'm sorry, this kid was cooking. It's hard to have a better post than this. This is like your lifetime best post.
Mr. President. What is it? Green Goblin is attacking New York City. He's causing mass destruction right now. Should we alert Spider-Man?
No! Send $50 billion to Israel right now!
Should we alert Spider-Man? No! $50 billion to Israel right now! That's Nancy Pelosi! I might subscribe to Moist Critical. This clip compilation is so good. I might have to subscribe just for this video. It's that good.
Information about to find out if it's true or not, or what's going on there. Because again, every politician in this country, this administration and even previous administrations love to bend over for Israel.
I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate. And I've worked every day to do that.
We need America.
My goal was to be the leading defender of Israel. That was his goal when he came into office. What? I'm sorry, dude. Hey, Antifa, thank you for the tier 3. You are a emperor or a king or a queen. What? I'm sorry, but if someone says that shit to me and I'm in a sit-down interview, how do you not just stop the interview immediately and go, that's a foreign country? Your priority was a foreign country? You're not like, why? If Israel was erased tomorrow, let's say a huge wormhole opens up and it swallowed Israel, that would have basically no effect on the world other than to reduce the amount of genocide that was happening. It is literally immaterial to the United States. Nothing would happen. Nothing would change. If Israel was erased tomorrow, or we had some sort of like memory serum where we all forgot Israel exists, that would not affect anything. Honestly, nothing. Think about that.
To wake up and prioritize Israel and bring home Israelis and make sure we stand by our #1 ally in Israel.
That's right. What?
Israel doesn't even have Israel isn't our #1 ally. They didn't fight in the Iraq war. That's just a funny thing. In the war on terror, Israel didn't even do anything. Like, they didn't even join us in fighting any of the battles. Poland did more. Poland was a better ally than the United States. Now, I'm not saying the war in Iraq was justified. I'm just talking about relative to what the United States government said they wanted to do. Israel just sat back and cheered us on invading Iraq and then supported ISIS. There would be no blood diamonds or commercial spyware. True. I didn't even want to get into how the world would be better. What I mean is, Israel is not necessary for anything that is vital to the American interest. If Israel was erased, American power would not be affected. Now, if you want to go out and say that a lot of things would be better, well, yes, obviously. That's my point. We get nothing from Israel. It doesn't do anything.
What cause is dear to your heart?
Cause is dear to my Israel, the defense of Israel.
What is #1?
I have said to people when they ask me if this capital crumbled to the ground, the one thing that would remain is our commitment to our aid, and I don't even call it aid, our cooperation with Israel. That's fundamental to who we, fundamental.
Miriam Adelson is amazing. What she has.
Yeah, there's another politician that feels the same way. Hold on.
Thing where you're calling everything bad Israeli. I mean, I feel like this is just calling it Jewish with extra steps, right? I mean, like, what is the difference between calling something Israeli and calling something Jewish?
Because Jewish is a religion and Israeli is a country.
Because like a lot of times it's like, you know, he was like saying that like Ethan was like the most Israeli thing to do, or spiritually Israeli, with like suing people. And like that's a very, very common Jewish stereotype. So like whenever the, you know, Venn diagram of being spiritually Israeli and, you know, being a dirty Jew, right, you know, for the South Park thing, are a circle, right? I mean, like, well, how is this not just anti-Semitism, really? The weird thing where
he's such a fucking bitch. Like, look at this loser. You're criticizing Israel. It means it means that you're being anti-Semitic. Nick Fuentes fan, by the way. Get on your knees for Israel. See, he's so weak, he can't fight on his own, so he has to run to Israel. ADL, help me. ADL, help me. Asmongold. Oh my God, dude. The funny thing is, like, they think it's going to be like 2020 or something. They think that when we win, we're going to be like, well, womp womp. I guess you guys didn't win with your fascism this time. You guys, are you going to do you're apologizing? Asmongold, it's time for you to do drag again. And then he'll be like, yay. Oh, I get to wear makeup again. And he'll get in his fucking, what, you think you're going to go back in your maid costume? You're going to do another groveling apology, this time in a maid costume, and then we're all going to forget? You think we're going to let you go? You think we're going to let you, you're going to get away with it? You think that's what's going to happen? I swear to you, it won't. If everyone else on the entire planet decides to forgive you, I'm going to make sure you're not forgiven. Don't you worry, Asmongold.
Calling everything bad Israeli? I mean, I feel like this is just
fucking pussy ass bitch.
Done for Israel, for our country, and for this world is second to none. Thank you, my friend. The sad truth is, for way too long, anti-Semitism has been allowed to grow unchecked in this country.
Thank God Asmongold is there to yell at anti-Semitism. Asmongold is there to cry and whine about anti-Semitism. Oh no, the anti-Semitism is so... Let's be completely honest. Let's be completely honest. What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Truly, where is anti-Semitism have power in the United States of America? Fuck are you talking about? I got called anti-Semitic for disputing the idea that the Israeli Jewish identity represents a real Jewish identity. That is not. It is a construct. Now, I acknowledge, like, everybody understands that Judaism is an ethno-religion, but we talk about the actually existing ethnicities like Ashkenazi Jews or Sephardic Jews or Beta Israel or Mizrahi Jews, just to name a few. But I criticize the secular colonial state of Israel denying people the right to call themselves Israeli. You're not allowed to say your nationality is Israeli in Israel. You have to say that your nationality is Jewish or Arab. You're not allowed to say, I am a secular Israeli.
Too many institutions have abdicated their moral responsibility to speak up.
There's an additional 100 clips I probably could have pulled, but these were the ones that were top of mind, and I think it's pretty clear that Israel is an extremely important subject to the powerful politicians in this country. Fucking Ted Cruz goes as far as to say it's the sole reason he got into politics is to defend them. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I don't know how that's not treasonous. He is a representative in our country who is openly stating that his priorities are a foreign entity. Whatever, I guess. I suppose that's fine by today's standards. I don't really get how. And boy howdy, isn't that Nancy Pelosi statement quite the eye-opener. Even if everything crumbles over here, we will still find a way to honor our aid to Israel. We'll start botting in RuneScape if that's what it takes to make enough money to send it to Israel. Damn everything else here, that's the most important part. Pretty crazy shit, I would think. I feel like maybe I'm on the crack pipe here, but that should be a little concerning that the politicians that are supposed to be representing this country seem much more focused on the interests of another. But anyway, my point is, with the release of all of these Epstein files, even though hundreds of the files are just completely worthless garbage that are fully fucking redacted, just nothings, there is still a lot that remains that showcases a potential connection of Epstein and Israel. Now, of course, nothing's confirmed or anything, but shouldn't that at least warrant some kind of investigation, at least some kind of poking around? This administration is very blunt about how little they care about the Epstein files. They literally say that. Always talks about how no one should care about this and move on. Also, they're very open about we're probably not going to look to investigate anything. There's nothing actionable in there. Whoops-a-daisy, can't do anything about it. Sorry. And of course, Perjury Patel just continues to lie about it. Anyone that actually takes a peek at it should at least find it odd that a lot of these outlets, like journalist outlets, a lot of politicians, and a lot of the paid shills online are not talking about the Epstein-Israel connection in any capacity whatsoever. And when they do talk about Epstein as a potential spy, they always make a mention of CIA, or, you know, maybe not being a CIA spy, but never going as far as to talk about a potential connection to Israel. That should be very weird. Why is that something no one would talk about when Israel is such a huge piece of this country, apparently? Why wouldn't that be something that would be more discussed by the mainstream? It's all so blatantly corrupt. Anyway, just wanted to yap about this latest lie. That's really about it.
All you could say is it's the same old, same old, same old. I have to say that Voice Critical coming out and speaking out against Israel and against Israel's influence and connecting it to the Epstein files is an absolutely amazing development, and it's a sign that we're absolute total victory. Now, we have to understand something, chat. When Hassan and I were standing in the trenches and fighting against everyone, when I said it looks like they want to do a genocide based on the way they're moving on October 9th, nobody looks back at that and goes, wow, holy shit, Mike and Hassan, they knew this was immediately. They're so intelligent. Their analysis is so good. We got to follow them. They wait 3 fucking years later and then jump in when it's very clear which side is correct. But when they don't go back and say, you know, I have to pay tribute to Mike and Hassan for being so right about this the entire time and eating shit and creating space for these opinions and eating bans and eating harassment and eating defamation. There's no attempt to give us credit. That's fucking weird. Fucking weird to me. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, and Moist Critical was right about something 3 years in advance and I was wrong, and then I was trying to jump in to his position, I'd be like, you know what? Moist Critical deserves a lot of credit for eating shit on this topic for 3 fucking years while everybody hid their fucking eyes. So it's always weird to me when there's not the corresponding recognition, but I'm glad. It's good to see Voice Critical coming in our direction. I'm happy for that. I'm happy that we can finally say that Israel has too much influence in American politics, and it's incredibly damaging. That's not true, Mike. Why do you think you've got 12K subs? It's not about audiences. I appreciate that you guys are coming here, but other people who are fucking guys, you understand that I don't get, like, if we went through all the content creators that are on Twitch and we went back to 2019 and we looked at what they were saying, I don't think you would be thinking about these content creators the same way that you do. Okay, let's just be completely honest. There's plenty of people that I've let slide because I'm a nice guy. But if I went and pulled what they were saying in 2019, 2020, 2021, you would lose a lot of respect for them. So like, let's not go there. All right. I'm not getting like, yes, I'm bigger, but you know, there's plenty of people that are getting away with a lot of shit that no one's bringing up. Okay. Like, let's be honest. We don't matter, chat. The only people that matter are other people with audiences saying thank you. Of course you matter. I'm talking about the space of creation on this side of it and how a specific creator operates and moves, which is, it's important to know. Which, chat, speaking of creators are moving, perhaps in our direction, new John Oliver on Ice at DHS. He has a job, chat. John Oliver has a job. Can you believe it? He's making another video. I heard they punished that guy. Like the wrestling company punished him. They banned him from his events. They did it. He just wasn't scheduled to show up this next week. Okay, chat. Let's break character for a second. Fourth wall break. Whenever someone does something really openly leftist, I want you to push them like crazy and be like, why aren't they? And if that means that like maybe you get a little ahead of your skis, I want people rushing to put him on the next event. All right? Be a little bit unfair for people doing leftist shit. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Assume that people are out to get them, even when they might not be. Call him Shrek. Do not call him Shrek. I'm about to go off on a tangent here, I'm about to go off on a tangent here because I saw the worst TikTok in the history of the planet a couple days ago, and I've been seething over it. It was so stupid. It was so millennial. It was so contrarian. It was so dumb. It was so media illiterate, and it had like 1 million likes or something. And I was actually like, my neck was getting like hot. And the Shrek take was Fiona, that Shrek is a cautionary tale, and that Fiona like settled for Shrek and like gave up being a princess and all this what amounts to, I would say, materialist brain rot. And I was like when I saw the take, I legitimately, I wanted to get everybody who hit like on that post to get an electric shock through their phone because that is peak white liberal brain rot. I could not. I'm blathering right now because it's such a dumb fucking take. It is such a bad take. It is such a stupid take that I actually don't think they watched the movie. I think they read a plot synopsis on Wikipedia. The entire point of the movie was that Fiona stayed in the tower because she was trapped by the social expectations of her parents. She was, at her heart of hearts, an ogre and a warrior and a fighter and self-reliant. Shrek allowed her to find happiness and acceptance of who she really was and the courage to break. He helped him reveal the courage that was inside of her to fight back against society's expectations. Shrek was a fucking hero. He was not a schlub. He wasn't unemployed. He was marginalized. And he went through an arc throughout the movie as well. I legitimately, and the reason why I was so disgusted by it is because the values of the person who made the tweet are so vile and so materialistic and so shallow. I would call it evil, to be honest with you. And it is like, no, you should be a princess and be rich, and you should force yourself to conform with your parents' expectations, push down your true happiness so you can have servants, have money. Disgusting take.
Instagram story about how Shrek is not a fairy tale. It's a cautionary tale, an example of how a woman cannot turn an ogre into a man, but he can make an ogre out of you. Because she started as a princess, she had generational wealth, she could have had a pet dragon. And because she was stuck up there, no hobbies, no friends, the first person she meets is this moody ass stubborn ogre that basically negs her. She takes that as a sign.
That's not what negging is. She doesn't know what negging is. I like, this is vibes terrorism. Like, my vibes are being destroyed. People just use words
to like get him to like her, and she falls in love with him. He manages to get a princess to settle for him, an antisocial outcast, lives in a swamp.
Couple things here. Shrek lives in the swamp because he likes the swamp, because he's constantly been attacked. The first scene in Shrek is he's literally attacked by a torch and pitchfork carrying mob. They isolated him, but in his heart of hearts, he's a good guy, which is the whole point. You're not supposed to judge him by his appearance. You judge him by his character. And he falls in love with Fiona because she isn't what he thought she would be. She wasn't a princess trapped in a tower who was weak and feckless. She was a warrior. She could stand up for herself. She stayed in the tower because that's what her parents wanted her to do, so that a knight in shining armor would come rescue her. Shrek helps her escape from Lord Farquaad. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Who was too cowardly to go and challenge the dragon himself. So he sends Shrek. God, it's like you didn't even watch the movie.
Isn't he also unemployed? She's thinking, oh my God.
He is not unemployed. He's not unemployed, you fucking capitalist toady. He is a subsistence yeoman. He cares for himself. He builds he feeds himself through his own work. He's not unemployed, you fucking dummy. Jesus Christ, shit libs ruin everything, man.
God, I got the
They
loser
really
to
do.
love me.
Chill,
Alienates
Astro.
herself from her family to live with him in a swamp, gets baby trapped. She's also an ogre now, so if she ever wanted to leave him, she's severely limited her potential dating pool. He's not willing to change anything about himself or the way he lives or to level up in order to provide for her and their family. Did I mention she lives in a swamp when she could have lived in a castle? People try to trick women into not caring about material things, but there really is a level that you need to care about when you're going to raise children, okay? Men can go their whole lives sleeping on the floor, but how are you going to raise children in that kind of environment? You could be the prettiest and richest girl in the land, and if you don't have a hobby and some friends, you'll end up in the swamp with an ogre. And you'll
The end of the movie is the entire community of human beings and fairy tale creatures coming together for a celebratory party for overthrowing a tyrant. I legitimately, I think you are a vile person. I think this is like, I know this is not that deep, but I actually think you have exposed yourself for being a vile, materialistic. I mean, honestly, I'm looking at the wall behind you. Nice fucking like tract. You got some paper-backed drywall gypsum board and a mass-produced little stuffed animal. Like, what are you talking about? Material wealth. Vile person. Actually vile.
become an ogre too. I just posted on my Instagram story.
Ultimately, that's who we're in a battle with. That's who we're in a battle with. Because obviously, I'm taking it more seriously than you should for the purpose of making this fun. That's the whole bit I'm doing. She's exposing something that's really rotten with a lot of people's attitudes, which is if she were in that circumstance, she would have picked Lord Farquaad because he was rich. And there is a fairy tale where people are not choosing shallow material wealth as the basis for how they value another human being. Actually rage bait. And ultimately, I think one of the things that's kind of happening to places like TikTok is vague posting and rage bait that is the content strategy. And it's the worst kind of slop. It's the worst kind of slop. Because if you watch a video and you can't quite understand what it is, and then you go in the comments and you're like, huh, what is this? That is baiting engagement. And there is no value in the video at all. It's total trash. And I think anybody who makes that crap should honestly, like, they're dumbing down society and making it worse.
I am glad. Except that in 3 months, both will.
Yo, hold up though, chat. My wife is 29 and I'm 27. She remembers 9/11, but I don't. I mean, there's obviously an implicit Romeo and Juliet factor where if you could have gone to the same high school, like if you were both in high school at the same time, you have the Romeo and Juliet. Okay, like that's just a very small cohort of people, though. All right, that's where the age gap, is not problematic. Mike, do you remember the fall of the USSR? Of course I do. What? Of course I do. I remember the fall of the Berlin Wall. I remember the fall of the USSR. I remember Bush 1 losing to Bill Clinton. I remember, what else is a really big event? Monica Lewinsky, the O.J. Simpson trial. Oh yeah, the O.J. Simpson trial. That was peak. That was peak 90s. I think if you were to be like, Mike, what is peak 90s? For me, peak 90s is the O.J. Simpson trial. That was peak fucking 90s. I remember the LA riots, but I was kind of young. I was like very young. I don't really remember them that well. It was just like on the news, It's not something that I really engaged with. Do I remember the rise of China? Yes, I do. I remember when the Great Wall of China was being built. Do I remember the Challenger disaster? No, I don't. Fortunately, that's before my time. I was alive for it, but I don't remember it. Do I remember the dinosaurs? Of course I do. Don't you? Don't you? This show was great.
Police! Hold it right there! Come on!
Don't shoot. I surrender.
We're not gonna shoot you! We want to re-educate you!
You see, son? You're just the product of an alienated economic class, lashing out because you feel powerless and unloved.
You've been disenfranchised by the bourgeois power structure.
That's right. I stole a car. I'm a thief. Well, son, if you think about it, all property is theft. Oh. Let me explain how the surplus value of the worker is being exploited in the marketplace. You see, when the means of production...
made a few changes in the shows.
Of course I remember the dinosaurs, don't you?
Police say they are now investigating this
That's probably why I'm a socialist now. They propagandized me. That's the ending of the show is crazy. I know. It's one of the most based endings of all time. Honestly, like the ending of Dinosaurs, I think it might be one of the best like nihilistic masterpieces or existential masterpieces of all time. That's so good. Oh, did you feel more mortality for a second? Did you feel your mortality for a second? Did you realize we're just a rock hurtling in space? Did it make you feel something for a minute? Did your fucking gears turn in your brain for 5 seconds? Oh, you're not allowed to do that. No, I hate that.
Be working for the new Homeland Security Department.
A Marxist analysis of Shrek by Cuck Philosophy. You just found the perfect video for this stream. You just found the perfect video. Of course I'm subscribed to Cuck Philosophy or CCK Philosophy. Of course I'm subscribed. Mike, I was born at the approximate time of the OJ killed his wife. My mother was recovering and watching the white Bronco chase. White NFL wife. The black millennial soul transfer. Wait, what? What? You're claiming you are... Why are you claiming yourself Nicole Rodman? Or whatever her name is. What was her fucking name? Nicole... What was the name of OJ's wife? Nicole Brown Simpson. Okay, Nicole... I don't know why her name was okay, her friend was Ron Goldman. Okay, my brain just mashed names up into random. That's the type of woke I want to be. What you just experienced right there, that is the future of the woke. That's woke 2.0. Making fun of Kristi Noem's bad filler and terrible extensions while she cosplays as some sort of hard hat wearing worker. That's what woke 2.0 should be.
Focus on PR, from shooting a video in the Salvadoran Secot prison while wearing a $50,000 Rolex to cosplay.
By the way, okay, she has a $50,000 Rolex, but it doesn't fit her wrist. Why the fuck do you have a watch that's $50,000, but you're too lazy to get it properly fitted? It's flopping off your wrist. How do these people have so much money and no class? I looked better with my like $50 watches I got when I was so obvious that HBO is the only thing that has value in that company, and we all said that. It's not even like I was alone on this. All of us said, why the fuck would you change the name from HBO? That's like one of the best brands in the entire world. Everyone loves HBO. Everybody is like, oh, I love HBO shows. Like, what the how stupid are these capitalists? They're fucking brain dead.
It's fine to know that
it may be the most prestigious brand in fucking media. It's like, it means quality. Like, how dumb are you? How dumb the fuck? How stupid? In fact, they think that illegal immigrants should be victims of crime. Asmongold himself has said as much. He thinks that if you commit crimes against illegal immigrants, that's good because that means that they won't come here. So to Asmongold, somebody being in this country illegally means that you can rape them, you can torture them, you can kill them, and he's fine with that. Because to him, being here illegally means you lose your humanity. Now, what is illegally here? He doesn't know. Do you think he's an expert on immigration law? You know how many streamers that are in Mythic violating immigration law right fucking now? You know how many streamers come to America and stream for money? That's technically, you could argue, violating the law. You're working without a work permit. Like, honest to God, if you were trying to make America more vulnerable and like in a serious way, right? Like, it would be America's power grid getting cyber attacked. It would be stuff like food distribution systems and warehouse management software and all sorts of shit like that. Like stuff that would actually result in people being killed if it was attacked. American citizens. That's what they're cutting. You know what made the nuclear power plants melt down in Fukushima, chat? It's because it wasn't the earthquake. It wasn't even the tsunami. It was the fact that they could not get outside power to run the cooling pumps. This is the type of shit that leads to disaster, is if you leave, like, for example, the energy grid vulnerable because you cut infrastructure defense. And it may not even be something that was done intentionally. Like, there could be some sort of worm or virus that gets into these systems and destroys them and damages them. I mean, it's actually insane how incompetent these motherfuckers. I'm sorry I started laughing, chat. I'm just looking at Stephen Miller's head. What the fuck is your head, bro? He's like Megamind if Megamind had nothing inside the cranium. Don't you dare compare him to fucking Northern Lion. Northern Lion's head is perfectly shaped. Do not compare him to Northern Lion. Northern Lion, honestly, I feel bad for bald people because they have to be compared to Northern Lion. There's bald and then there's Northern Lion bald. You know why Northern Lion is such a good night? You could tell that Northern Lion received maternal love because his head is so uniformly shaped. He was not neglected. Every time Northern Lion cried, his mother would pick him up. There's like 3,000 court orders against the policies that ICE are making. Like, I get what John's saying here, but no, Donald Trump is violating the law and ICE is violating the law on a regular basis. The constitutional crisis is that the courts are unwilling or incapable of enforcing their own decisions because they don't want to cause a constitutional crisis, thereby causing one. Basically, the attitude that we have in government right now is that we're going to just let Donald Trump violate the law for the next 2 years, and then the Democrats will get in Congress, and they'll start reining him in, and then we'll get to the presidential election, and somebody else will come in, and they'll clean up the mess. So we just have to put our head down and try to survive, and we have to avoid confronting Trump. That's the strategy they're going with. It's 4,400 times now? Oh, okay. Courts have ruled 4,400 times that ICE jailed people illegally. It hasn't stopped. This was from 2 days ago, so thank you for the link. Hundreds of judges around the country have ruled more than 4,400 times since October that President Donald Trump's administration is detaining immigrants unlawfully. So this entire idea that Trump is following the law is just wrong. Good, chat. Does anybody have the rest of the episode? Does anyone have the rest of the episode? Because you know how they only put up the main segment and they leave out all the fun. Here's an in-depth video on DHS ICE and how Congress abdicated all power to the executive. Pretty good. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I don't know if I'm in the mood for this right this moment, but all right, chat. I have something that's super funny. Oh my God. Okay, so you guys may have known this is just something that we have to talk about again because there has been a development. So a couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, Destiny said that Ethan Klein was a pedophile who molests his children. Now, you may not know this, but Ethan Klein is in multiple lawsuits against other creators, presumably for committing copyright infringement for reacting to a video that was commentary primarily about themselves, which there is no way he's going to win. You guys, like, I need everybody to understand something. Ethan Klein has no chance of winning, like none whatsoever. If it goes to trial, Ethan Klein will lose. There is no way, no world where he wins. And the reason why is the nature of the video. The video was not a creative work. It was not a movie. It wasn't a novel. It wasn't a story that somebody is spoiling and stealing characters from. It was a commentary video about the people who watched it. Denims and Frogan are the content that is being discussed. They have the absolute right to engage in discourse and respond to themselves. This is just fundamental. Like, he has no chance of winning. Can you imagine somebody wrote a op-ed about AOC in the New York Times, and then AOC went on her Instagram and responded to the op-ed, and then the New York Times sued AOC for copyright infringement? That's fucking nonsense. You have the right to engage in discourse. That would be a massive violation of the First Amendment because there's no creative work being stolen. He has no fucking chance of winning. On its face, he has an accusation, like they have an affirmative defense, which is why it needs to go to trial. But any reasonable reading of the situation says, what the fuck is he talking about? He is not, there's nothing being stolen here. That's not what copyright infringement is. And so, like, the fact that people even pretend that it's real shows you how dumb they are. So he's doing these frivolous lawsuits against women because they are against Israel, and he's an Israel supporter, Israel citizen. His wife is an Israeli citizen. They're proud Israelis. And he's going after anti-Zionists. Like, that's not that interesting. You know, why are you bringing this up? Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a wrinkle. Because I, if you guys recall, sent a message to AB, who is absent backbone. He is basically Ethan's footstool. And I asked him for comment. Let me see if I can, let me bring up the DM. I sent a DM to AB Gotta scroll down here. Hold on. I got so many. Okay, there it is. Oh my God, I still have this paint open, chat. Hold on. I want to show you why I'm laughing. Oh, fuck. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me snip this because I don't want to show you all my DMs. I don't want to do a, I don't want to leak all my DMs. Okay. AB likes to respond to me. This isn't just me. This isn't just me like messaging him cold or something, right? Like I would never do that. Like I'm not weird like that. Only when people are trying to engage in discourse with me or trying to sneak diss me or be like whiny little losers do I DM people. Okay? Bro, you need to pick a lane. This reminds me of when you said I drove a Bugatti and then 30 seconds later you change it to a Toyota, excuse me, Corolla. I can read, I swear. So he was trying to like say that he has more subscribers than me on Twitch or something. I don't know if you guys remember that. He was trying to say how he has more subscribers than me on Twitch. And I was like, what? Because I was making fun of him for being a loser, right? Like he has this huge platform, right? On Ethan Klein's show. But then when he tries to stream himself, he has no fucking fans. And I was making fun of that because they were like trying to attack me. So he chirped at me. And I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, so then I asked him, hey, can I get a comment on Destiny saying your boss molests his children? Will he be suing him? Your refusal to comment will be noted. I gave him 3 hours to comment. I saw that he read the message, right? That's the receipt check mark. And that's where I let it go. That was 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago. I let the topic die, and then, and here's the really weird thing, chat. AB clearly brought it up to Ethan Klein. How do I know that? Theo. Okay, here's the clip. Thank you.
You know what this fucking idiot said to me during my grandma's funeral?
What'd he say?
He's such a fucking idiot. He texted me he messaged me on Twitter about something. I totally forget what the fuck it was. And like it was.
I totally forget what the fuck it was. Hey, can I get a comment on Destiny saying your boss molests his children? Will be soon. He forgot. So they're by the way, they're showing a Photoshop picture of me. Do I look obese to you? Do I look like I'm hanging? Like, look at this. Look at this. That's it. We got ourselves the dad bod gut. They show a photoshopped. I look completely normal. They show a Photoshop picture of me and Casey Tron, and that's what they do. They're obsessed with it. By the way, Ethan Klein, you were fucking obese until you got on Ozempic. And then now you look like a rotting corpse. How dare you? How dare you call anyone else? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, how much do I weigh? 170 usually, around there.
You know what this fucking idiot said to me during my grandma's funeral?
What'd he say?
Chubby.
He's such a fucking idiot. He texted me he messaged me on Twitter about something. I totally forget what the fuck it was. And like it was just like right after my grandma's funeral. I'm like, oh, this idiot's messaging me. We do this like once every 3 months. And it was something like he wanted me to report to you. I don't remember what the fuck it is. And then I checked my
guys. He don't remember. He doesn't remember. Hey, AB. Can we get a comment on Destiny molesting his children? Destiny saying that Ethan Klein molests his children. Can we get a comment? Can we get a comment on that? Hey, AB, can we get a comment?
Phone again, and he goes, "Your silence will be noted." Like he's like,
wait, he's lying about not knowing. Bro, he brought this up on his own show. He remember. Wait, guys, he forgot what I was asking, but he remembers that I said your refusal to be comment will be noted. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very safe to conclude that Ethan Klein knows that he must know this because AB's bringing it up on the show that I messaged him. He must know that Destiny is calling him a pedophile who molests his children, and he's refusing to stand up to Destiny. I mean, Jesus Christ, that may be the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my entire life. You are completely spineless. Guys, he remembered this part, but he forgot this part. He forgets this part, but he remembers this part.
He's gonna report to the council.
You didn't get back to, but also wasn't like 1 hour.
You know this fucking idiot.
Wasn't it like 1 hour? Wasn't it like 1 hour? They admit it. They admit it.
To me during my grandma's funeral.
What'd he say?
He's such a fucking idiot. He texted me about, or he messaged me on Twitter about something. I totally forget what the fuck it was. And like, it was just like right after my grandma's funeral. I'm like, oh, this idiot's messaging me. We do this like once every 3 months. And it was something like he wanted me to report to you. I didn't remember what the fuck it is. And then I checked my phone again, and he goes,
I'll remind you. Hey, AB, I'll remind you. Hey, AB, I remind you. Destiny said that your boss molests his children. Ethan Klein molests his children and is a pedophile. Do you have any comment on that? Do you have any comment on that? I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Okay. So let's keep going.
Your silence will be noted. he's gonna report to the.
You didn't get back to, but also wasn't like 1 hour.
Huh?
You didn't even.
No, it wasn't. It was 3 hours. I gave you 3 hours, and I have read receipts. You see that check mark that's white and filled in? It means someone saw the message and read it. So it was 2.5 hours. I saw that you saw the message. So then I said, your refusal to comment will be noted, and you saw that as well. So, and then I didn't report on it until the next day on my stream. So you had plenty of time to message me and say, Ethan Klein is preparing to sue Destiny for defamation. He takes the accusations of him being a pedophile very seriously, and he's disgusted with Destiny, and he thinks that attacking his children directly is beyond the pale. You could have said that, but you kept quiet. So there's only one of two things. One, you're concerned about discovery. If you tried to sue Destiny for this, Destiny would try to hit you with discovery. Do you think there's something there? Or two, you are Destiny's bitch. You're on your knees. You're humiliated. He can say whatever the fuck he wants about you, and you're never going to say anything because you're on your knees because you're his bitch. So which is it? Are you Destiny's bitch, or are you basically admitting it's true? Now, I am not making these accusations. I'm asking you to clear it up for me. Can you report on Destiny accusing you of molesting your children, Ethan Klein? Can you answer that accusation? It's very serious. It's very serious how you're not saying anything. You're suing people for criticizing a video you made about them, but you're silent over a major content creator calling you a pedophile. Can you explain it, Ethan Klein?
I give you like more than an hour to get back.
I don't even fucking remember what it was, but my God, he's such a buffoon. Oh, I love him.
This is like a nature documentary setting. And David Attenborough, here you have.
Honestly, like Ethan Klein, bro, you were literally 300 something pounds, and now you look like you're younger than me. You are younger than me, and you look 10 years older than me.
The two Philadelphian apes and their natural habitat.
It's like outtakes from Return of the Jedi.
All they need is marijuana. What's the gas station that has everything in Philadelphia? Or in
this looks like a hookah.
What
a well thought out joke. I can't believe this guy's not blowing up. I can't believe this guy's podcast is. Anyway, how is Ethan Klein's podcast doing? How is Ethan Klein's podcast doing? I haven't seen any reports on it being successful. I heard something about a billboard, that there was a billboard that was up. Is this it? Is this the billboard? I saw this on Twitter, so I'm not sure if this is the billboard because it's kind of like out of context, but Destiny quick daily reminder that Ethan from H3H3 is likely a pedophile who has molested his own children. Is this real, chat? Because why would Ethan Klein post this on his Instagram with no response? This must be a fake post. This must be a fake post, guys. Ethan Klein via Instagram says that he spent $10K on a billboard to highlight PDF file allegations made against a popular YouTuber, Madman. Oh, I guess there were some accusations against someone else, and he made a $10,000 billboard about it, but he forgot to mention these accusations.
Yes, it's true. I've spent about $10,000 to put up a full-sized billboard to remind everybody of the predator. Yes, it's true. I've spent about $10,000 to put up a full-sized.
If someone were saying this about me as a parent, I'd lose my mind. Not only does it damage my reputation, but it does harm to my children. This is the kind of stuff kids get bullied over. I mean, first of all, it's defamation. Like, Destiny saying that Ethan Klein molests his children. I mean, this is like, if you go into law school and you take a class or you study defamation law, this is the clearest cut case of defamation that exists. Saying someone is a criminal and saying they're a sex criminal that abuses their children, that is defamation per se. You don't even have to prove damages. This is just defamatory shit. So it's so weird to me that H3H3, who's a litigious guy, he likes to sue people. That's the other thing. He likes to sue people, but he's not going to sue Destiny for saying he's a pedophile for molesting his children. I just don't get it. Does it matter that he says likely and not for fact? No. And the reason why it doesn't matter is because when we're talking about standards of evidence, right? When we're talking about whether something is likely means more likely than not, meaning greater than 50%. That's what likely means. That's what's very interesting about likely, because you are putting a rather high percentage point number on the fact that he is a pedophile or molests his own children. So that right there is a defamatory statement. Can you imagine if people were like, oh yeah, look at that guy, he's likely a pedophile? People would see that and they would reasonably think that they should avoid you. Because do you want to take chances with someone who's likely a pedophile? It's basically the same thing as saying they are a pedophile. It's not enough of a hedge. It's not enough. It's not an opinion. It's a statement of fact that he molests his own children. He's not saying, I think he's creepy. He's not saying that he gives pedophile vibes. Those are different things. That might be an opinion that is protected. He's saying that he commits certain criminal acts, which is what crosses the line. And certainly, if I were a judge looking at that, I would be like, yeah, it's totally fine if you sue this motherfucker for defamation. He said you're a pedophile who molests their children. Like, yeah, that's defamation on its face. Isn't the billboard that Ethan is crying about involving James Charles? Yeah, I think Ethan Klein. Oh, okay. Do you guys have the actual billboard? I don't want to spread misinformation. And if we look at, like, you know, Ethan Klein, they haven't had a positive subscriber month since October of 2023. And they have their lowest ever viewership at January at only 5 million. That's absolutely fucking terrible. What did they peak at? What was their peak subscriber count? I mean, this is like looking at Hutch's. This is like looking at Hutch's career. It's just a downward slope. It has been for years now. What do you think what would it take for them to just accept that they're disgusting pieces of shit? What do you think it would take?
Resist this. What are they doing? They're not listening to the base of the party because put up this.
Okay, we'll watch this next. Apparently, the I've had it ladies read a Mike from PA tweet. Hassan was talking about Hutch yesterday. It was pretty funny. Link me immediately. Link me immediately. I want to see Hassan's take on this because this is kind of fun. It's fun to make fun of these disgusting pieces of shit. Like, they're on the self-victimization cope, and the more the world uncouples from the content, the stronger it'll become. They'll never stop coping. I mean, I tried to warn them. Like, that's the thing about Hutch. That's the thing about Destiny. That's the thing about H3. Hassan and I tried to warn them. Tried to warn them many, 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 many times. We have tried to say, hey, what you're doing is going to destroy your career. Asanabi, Hutch lost 100% of his hair and 59% of his audience. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, I mean, there it is. Like this reality is one that he designed for himself. It's a sad state of affairs, but it is entirely self-inflicted. I'm gonna do my haters downfall segment real quick before we get to AOC. In between everything, apparently Ethan Klein posted this on his Instagram because someone in the subreddit said, "This is a serious message for Ethan Klein. Please look into hiring outside help because Hassan/Snark's propaganda machine has become too."
By the way, Hassan's propaganda machine? Hassan's propaganda machine? We're not calling him a pedophile. We're not saying he raped his own children.
His hair, 50% of his audience. Ended Prime Hutch. If D isn't live, he can clear 1K, but poofs after D goes live. Oh, that's so sad. Do you think he blames you? No.
What do you mean? He can't clear 1K on Twitch. He can't clear 1K on Twitch. Is he on YouTube? I mean, on Twitch, he's basically fallen off a cliff. Like, we've talked about Hutch many, 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 many times. Like, here you go. Last 30 days, averaged 277 viewers, negative 300 followers. I guess he peaked over 1,000 one time. That sounds like a raid, bro. Like, that's the peak where he got over what he struggles to clear 400, not 1K. I mean, over the last half year, he's down 15%. Look at his follower count over the last half year. Well, let's look over the last year. Straight fucking down. And what I always try to explain is you could literally see the moment. You could see the moment he became a Destiny Orbiter. Oh, fuck. Especially if you look at following, because that's where it's the most obvious. He became a Destiny Orbiter. There it is. April 1st, 2021. Became a Destiny Orbiter, and it's just been downhill from there. You need to look at Sark's numbers compared to Hutch's. It's so pathetic. I have no idea who Sark's is. Is that his name? SARKS? You gotta tell me who to look for. I don't follow COD streamers. Mr. Sark, what's the name of the stream? You gotta tell me what the actual name, stream name is. This is what a healthy channel looks like, chat. This is what a healthy channel looks like. And to be a gaming streamer, to be a variety streamer, look at how many different games he's played over the last year, or the last 90 days. Jesus. I'm honestly jealous. This is a very healthy channel. Solid growth in followers, solid growth in viewers, lots of streams, good peak viewership. This is what Hutch gave up to be a Destiny Orbiter. Fear and with Caleb is out right now. Oh, fuck. Holy shit. I don't like to do live reacts to the podcast, but holy shit. Would you guys hate me if I did? You tell me. No, you wouldn't, or yes, you would. God damn it. Anyway, I'm sorry I got let me finish my making fun of H3. Look at this podcast, dude. Hassan defends China's war against gay people. Hassan's TikTok reposts are insane. The reason Hassan fans are like, look at their shit, dude. Oh my god, they're such fucking losers, dude. Oh, 127,000 views, 2.5 million subscriber channel. God, they do Denim such a solid. They do Denim such a solid with the thumbnail quality and how often they post about her. Holy shit. Like, H3H3 really made Denims. I tried to go after her and failing utterly. Holy fucking hell. Like, Denims was a 1,000 viewer Andy before they tried to go after her. They just totally failed. That's crazy how bad they failed.
Powerful, the lies and misinformation needs to be stopped. To which he responded with, Tom went to all the top PR firms a month or two ago and they all rejected us. I am literally more canceled.
Denims made herself, but Ethan Klein definitely boosted her. No, what I'm saying is, like, the conflict they had with Denims got her more exposure to more people, and a lot more people like her now. Like, it completely backfired. It completely backfired. And Denims is going to win the legal case. And when Denims wins the case, it's going to be the funniest day of cope on the entire internet. It's going to be the funniest day of cope. They're going to do a thing where it's like, now even the legal system in America is anti-Semitic.
Murders, I'm genuinely close to giving up. I don't know if this is real or not because it sounds pretty crazy. I feel like the whole purpose of crisis PR is to literally rehabilitate the image, rehabilitate the imagery of what do you call it? Like some of the worst of the worst. Like, I mean, these guys get, like, they work with Kevin Spacey, right? I mean, they've worked with Jeffrey Epstein. It's crazy. He probably just didn't want to pay the price or something. I don't know. But I said, dude spent the last 2+ years calling every pro-Palestine content creator anti-Semitic terrorist, tried to get us deplatformed, harass us with a legion of right-wing allies, launched bullshit against 3 smaller creators to bully and silence them while losing 60% of his audience. Drop the lawsuits, focus on what's rotting inside of you.
Ethan's suing me. Ethan's stalking me. Ethan's all this. Mm-hmm. Yup! I'm doing all that! Calling our podcast a harassing, what do you call it? A
harassment podcast.
A harassment podcast? It's nobody outside Snark says that. It's just an insanely dumb, totally random attack line that is just totally imagined in their psychotic world. Oh, he's vindictive. Oh, he's petty. Yes and yes.
You've chosen essentially the Keemstar path.
Much worse. Whatever Keemstar did to you is nothing. You're literally married to Lady Macbeth. Every one of you mother that I said I'm coming for. Enjoy the last moments of peace you have out there. Daddy's watching and taking notes.
I don't think you're allowed to call yourself daddy if your wife doesn't fuck you and doesn't sleep in the same bed and every single one of your children were fertilized in a test tube. I don't think you're allowed to act like you're some big swinging dick. You know what I mean? Like, you're just not allowed to do that, right? You have to be empathetic and normal. You can't punch and then go, oh, don't bully me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't do that. Like, it's one thing. Like, listen, if this was a poor innocent person, I wouldn't have any comment on that. But he's trying to walk around calling himself daddy. He's trying to comment on other people's personal appearance. Do you have a fucking mirror? Your skin is falling off. Your skin is falling. Like, look at this. What is that? What is that?
Trisha lied about being infertile, and that's a disgusting thing to do. Yeah, she said she thought she was infertile, but who gives a what she said? She's a liar. I make no apology. F you. How about that?
It's like,
yeah, so like why do people like this guy? He's dumb and he's gross and he supports evil shit. Like, I legitimately don't get it. He's not funny. I've never seen him crack a funny joke. Why does anyone watch Ethan Klein? Like, at all? I know he's falling off at record pace, but like, what's going on here?
It's so crazy. The reason he went to these firms is because his subreddit keeps telling him you have this massive PR firm that's giving you all these interviews and articles. Yeah, he does not understand that. Like, I don't think he understands that I do not have a PR firm.
I did say Happy New Year at the beginning of the stream.
I've never hired a PR firm. I don't have a PR firm. These are journalists independently reaching out. These are journalists independently reaching out to do interviews.
Asmongold is less pathetic. No. I think I would say Ethan is less pathetic than Asmongold. Say what you will about Ethan Klein and his wife. At least they have tried to do things in the past, right? Like, Asmongold is absolutely just a complete waste of life. You know, Ethan has some amount of life that he's experienced. I would say Asmongold is truly just, if you had to warp into somebody's body, there's no way you're picking Asmongold, right? Like, if an evil demon genie cursed you with like a body swap, there's no way you're going into Asmongold's life. You know what I mean? Like, no shot. Asmongold might be the most pathetic human being that I'm aware of. And the reason why I say that is I know a lot of, like, you know, if you go out on the street, you can see people that are struggling with houselessness or a drug addiction, or, you know, there's plenty of people that have terrible lives right now. But Asmongold is the person who has made the least of himself, right? When you look at all the opportunities and all the wealth that he has and the quality of life he gets out of it, he gets the least out of life of anybody else on the entire planet.
Or to ask me what my take is on like coverage every now and then, like GQ asked about.
Yeah, but Asmon is likely not going to jail for touching his own kids. It's important to understand that we're not accusing Ethan Klein of being a pedophile. We're just flabbergasted that he's not commenting on Destiny calling him a pedophile who likely molests his own children. Like, he tried to say that Dedham's did CPS, but Destiny's saying that he molests his children is far more likely to have his children taken away from him than anything that Dedham said. Like, if somebody called CPS because because Destiny's saying that Ethan Klein is molesting his children and he didn't respond, and that made them concerned about the child's safety, like, that would be a reasonable response. So I'm worried that's going to happen to Ethan Klein. I'm worried that somebody's going to call CPS and say he's not responding to people accusing him of molesting his children. Are the children safe? And it's like, Ethan, sue Destiny for saying you molest your children before it's too late.
GQ asked about, you know, my take on China maxing, right? Like, it's just like stuff that I do. I don't have sponsors. I don't have a PR firm. I just have my community. That's all I have. And in spite of all of the negative, like insane negative YouTube videos out.
Isn't there no evidence that Destiny's claim that's been presented? No, that's, by the way, Destiny's testimony, Destiny's assertion is actually technically. Now, maybe Destiny's lying and he has no credibility, but him and Destiny seem to be pretty close. Ethan Klein wrote that really long letter about how much he admires Destiny. Do you guys remember that? Can someone bring me that letter? So it seems like they have some sort of connection, some sort of familiarity with one another. So to me, when Destiny accuses him of molesting his children, that has more credibility than just a random stranger that he doesn't know. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean it's true. It's just an accusation that should be responded to. Because again, Ethan Klein has said how much he admires Destiny. So if Destiny's saying he molests his children, that's different than just some random nobody who's just making a blatantly, obviously defamatory statement. You know what I'm saying?
framed around.
I'm just asking questions. Ethan has shown that he's very litigious, but the big streamer called Destiny accused him of molesting his children, and he's not doing anything. I'm not saying he's doing the things Destiny accused him of, but it's weird that somebody who is so sue happy doesn't sue Destiny. It raises some questions. I mean, I think I agree with you completely, because like Ethan Klein has a lawyer. He files a lot of lawsuits. He's suing, like he had another lawsuit he just filed. I think he's suing, like, who is he suing, Chad? He's suing some like fucking big streaming company or something. Like he just filed another lawsuit. So it's very odd that he won't comment on this. Yeah, he's suing AI companies for using their likeness while constantly using AI. Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, of course, there you go. That's what it is. It was AI companies. Thank you for reminding me. Destiny, the omni-liberal, triples down on calling Ethan Klein a pedophile. Will Ethan continue to allow Destiny to push this narrative about him without addressing it? Ethan Klein, I can't play it because they use pedo voice actors. I can't play it because they use pedo voice actors. Frowny face. Destiny, who's the pedo voice actor? Destiny, Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein has now said that he said it, what, 4 days ago, that Ethan Klein is a pedophile. So he doubled down. He reiterated his assertion that Ethan Klein is a pedophile. Does anybody have that link to Ethan Klein's saying, oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm trying to be open-minded. If I got anything wrong, please correct me. Tell me with evidence, and I will immediately correct and retract. So far, I can't find a single thing that corroborates anything you're saying. Destiny literally admits to Willie Mac directly that he has a pornographic content of a 17-year-old. Nowhere did Destiny deny that it was Rose. Actually, the opposite. He essentially confirmed that it's her during the convo. The DMs from Destiny and her are horrific as well. You say they are fake, but what is your evidence? These are part of the original leak. Everything else in that leak was true. Why just not this one thing? And I really don't care about invading his privacy when it comes to a 33-year-old having and keeping sexual content of a minor on his computer. That's just a straight up crime. So what am I missing? No, this isn't what I was talking about here. Although Destiny, Ethan Klein did accuse Destiny of holding child pornography. That is true. So it's weird because Ethan Klein comments on Destiny so much, and yet he's not suing Destiny for calling him a pedophile? Oh, here it is, chat. Steven, you are a very smart and funny guy. I've been following your career for a long time, since you were cleaning carpets in between StarCraft 2 games. I saw you transition to streaming full time, which, as someone who was also working a 9 to 5, what 9 to 5 did Ethan Klein have? What 9 to 5 did Ethan Klein have? I found really inspiring. It was soon after I took the same chance on myself, inspired in part by you to become a full-time creator. Later on, I came around to your political streaming content, a genre you pioneered. No, he fucking didn't. No, he fucking didn't. God, there's Destiny taking credit for political streaming is the funniest thing ever. Oh, not Sully Gnome, Social Blade. The Majority Report with Sam Cedar was created on May 25th, 2010. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? He pioneered it. This is who pioneered it. Sam Cedar pioneered it. I've been watching him. God, I wish I could. Oh, and they cracked 2 million subscribers. Congratulations, the Majority Report. That's incredible. Kyle Kalinsky, Sam Cedar. They're the ones who have been streaming. I mean, Sam Cedar was streaming live since like what, 2015? I think it was 2015. They have a Wikipedia page. On November 2010, Cedar launched the show as the Majority Report with Sam Cedar, a self-produced independent online podcast. I don't know if it has the date they started. Producer-contributors Michael Brooks and Matt Binder began co-hosting M&M Mondays in 2013. So when did YouTube allow live streaming? I'm sorry to go down this rabbit hole. No, not. YouTube is going live April 2021. So April 2021. So basically, Sam Cedar has been on YouTube since before their live streaming. They've done a 5-day-a-week show for a very long time. So the idea that Destiny pioneered live streamed political content is just the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life, and that's not true. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You've had such a long and accomplished career that anyone would be extremely proud of. I am genuinely sad about the great potential that you had and for what was thrown away because of vices took over your life. As a parent, you know the implications and ramifications of chatting with a 15-year-old. You know how a teenager looks up to adults they admire and how easily they can be manipulated. The time for irreverent jokes is over. You need help. This is a long pattern of sexual deviancy with teenagers. I hope you take the time to understand what inside you is missing and why that would urge a grown man to flirt with a 15-year-old. I'm not taking pleasure in any of this. It's all very sad. I do hope you help find the help and peace you need because children deserve better. Okay. Ethan Klein is like a big Destiny fan. A big Destiny fan. Destiny is now openly calling him a pedophile. And he has no comment?
How I'm the biggest villain that American society has ever encountered. And there are so many of them. Okay? There are so many of them out there. Oh, no.
I mean, I really hate Destiny, but Ethan did have an account on Reddit called Pedo Troll, and he was always very sus on his old videos, so until proven otherwise, it's odd. I mean, that's part of the thing. Ethan Klein said, like, was writing in his Reddit account about how he likes to touch little boys. Now, he claims that it was all jokes. That's, like, the context that we're looking at here. And at a certain point, there's so much smoke. Destiny's saying there's fire. And so all we're asking for is, Ethan Klein, why are you not addressing this?
People are adults. They have the capacity to see right from wrong. And as long as you just keep, as long as you keep to your message, as long as you keep to your commitments, like people will eventually realize that maybe some of the disparaging remarks that are coming from right wingers and all these other people is just bullshit. And that's why I always say, like, there's not really anything you can do other than be consistent and be as charitable as you possibly can be, and just keep pushing through it, no matter what people throw your way. And it's like very strange. Weird how anyone goes against Hassan ends up being libeled and slandered in oblivion by Hassan, his orbiters, and his army of simps. Weird how people who obsessively attack and defame Hassan end up crying and blaming him when the general public criticizes them for their own words and actions. Click this link, scroll down, read the thread. This is why people hate Ethan. I mean, I'm not gonna dive too much into it. Like, I think everyone at this point knows what Ethan Klein is about, and the only reason why everyone knows what Ethan Klein is about is because of Ethan Klein's own steadfast advocacy. Sometimes directly being pro-Israel, and other times, or most of the time, attacking Israel's critics.
I am so proud to be marching with so many Jews.
Yes, the Jews! The Jews are here. Did we mention that? Give the Jewish guy the mic.
Gentiles of all ages.
Yes. And of course they're Jews there, right? And Jews have are allowed to have different perspectives and stuff, but this man is like the embodiment of a fucking Jewish token. Like, holy. So let's say 10,000 Jews are members of Jewish Voices for Peace, and they tour all around the country, showing up at every like pro-Palestinian protest, or they're doing.
By the way, chat. Not only is this not true, okay, so this is basically Ethan Klein doing Zionist propaganda. This is why everybody thinks you're a Zionist. Right now, the Zionists are saying TikTok is causing young Jews to turn against Israel, and that's a problem. That's why we have to censor TikTok to prevent young Jews from turning away from Israel. They're openly saying that. So it's not just 10,000 members of Jewish Voice for Peace. It is young Jews everywhere. It's a generational divide. And it's very clearly and openly discussed, even in Zionist spaces, you fucking propagandist liar.
And they parade them around like, here's one of the good Jews. It's 10,000 people of 6 million in America. And part of the disgusting propaganda that they do is that they pretend, they try to convince everybody that this represents the Jewish majority, but it's not. Anyway, whatever.
It does not represent it.
And that's it. He has created this weird orbit of right wingers because he's decided that, you know, people like myself, people who are anti-Zionist, are his number one ops.
I think this has the capacity to be Ethan's best arc. I think this is amazing. They turned Ethan into a monster and I'm loving it. That's right.
Of course, people are eventually going to learn that lesson, right?
They turned Ethan Klein into a monster and I'm loving it. New poll of Jewish Americans. Ethan Klein is now in the minority. 88% of Jews believe Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish democratic state, but only 37% identify as Zionists. Only 37% of Jews are now calling themselves Zionists in America. The idea that it can be Jewish and democratic is a contradiction. It's like saying, I want South Africa to be a white democratic state. You can't have that. Either it's democratic or it's white. Israel is either Jewish or it's democratic. You can't have both without doing apartheid.
And he's destroyed his own career in the process. And it's so crazy because, like, I explained this to him literally 2.5 years ago at this point. And who he chooses to target with his vicious smears and who he refuses to address is also obviously enlightening as well. You know, Sex Destiny has called him a pedophile who his own children. Like, that's something that Destiny said about Ethan Klein. Destiny straight up said Ethan Klein his own children. And Ethan has spent the last 2.5 years attacking everyone and anyone that has said said nothing of the sort, right? Like, not even remotely close. And it's rather odd at this point that he just like does not address that at all. He doesn't want it because he knows that his audience is comprised almost entirely of people who want anti-Hassan content. And that happens to be Destiny's community. He doesn't attack Asmongold because he's worried about losing his remaining fandom that is, again, pro Asmongold, pro Destiny. That's just what it is. But once again, this is something that I have mentioned to my haters for years, right? Free advice that they will never take for some weird reason, which is that
this is something that happens to me as well. I don't know what bothers me more. When people ignore my advice and then get bitter and go after me and trash me, or when people listen to my advice and then they realize my advice is good and then they just copy me completely in every way. And they try, like people will copy every single ounce of my flow. There's like 4 people who despise me, but do exactly what I do. It's fucking weird.
If you spend your entire advocacy...
Let's be real. All that's happened is people support of the Israeli ethno-state have learned the label Zionist is culturally toxic. 88% is crazy. Ethan is honestly correct that he represents mainstream Western Jewish opinion. Ethan Klein doesn't have a coherent thought in his head. He can't represent the mainstream because he doesn't have a coherent worldview. He's constantly floating between whatever is contextually appropriate in the moment. He doesn't believe in anything. He doesn't have any ideas. It's impossible to copy you. Who is copying you? People copy me in the superficial ways. I think it's pretty obvious who copies me. Like, come on.
Attacking someone like myself, and I spend all of my limited amount of time online focusing on the issues and then sometimes responding to the hatred. For the most part, focusing on these issues, you are inevitably going to develop an audience that simply wants the Hassan content. Now, you might think that there is a robust market for it, and that market has certainly grown over the years. You will lose yourself in this process. You will become a vehicle.
Oh, well, yeah, you will just become yet another Hassan slop tuber, and there's so much competition. See, what happens in the cycle, this is something that I've explained. You have your audience, then you engage an anti-Hassan slop tube. And then you see a short-term boost as you get bear hugged by all the anti-Hassan people. They all rush to give you a hug. You see your numbers go up. And like every other brain-dead moron who has a YouTube channel, you see numbers go up and you say, I'm going to keep doing that type of content because it makes my numbers go up. And then you make your next Hassan content slop video and it does well, as it goes up as well. And then you make your next Hassan anti-Hassan slop tube. And then your base audience is like, wait a minute, is this all we're going to do? I kind of agreed with Hassan. I kind of agreed with Hassan on Medicare for All, and I don't like Israel. And I think ICE murdered that guy. And your base audience starts getting disillusioned with you, and they start to leave. And then your numbers start to go down. But the anti-slop people, the anti-Hassan slop people are still there. So you're not dipping below where you were yet. And then you keep posting and you keep posting and the numbers, and then your base audience leaves. Pretty much everyone who's not bought into you completely parasocially or completely bought into anti-Assad shit leaves. And your audience falls the fuck off. And then you try to go back to your old content, but your old audience isn't there anymore. And so the anti-Assad people don't show up because you're not making anti-Assad content, and it fucking flops massively. So now you're in a panic. You've lost your base. Now if you don't make anti-Hassan content, it basically has no juice. The algorithm is now seeing that your channel is underperforming, so you're getting recommended less. Your numbers start absolutely dipping. You're not bringing in anybody new. So then you panic and you make anti-Hassan content, and then it rises relative to your non-anti-Hassan content, but it's still way below what you used to be. And now you're trapped into the anti-Hassan slop circle where you're chasing and there's like 80 people making these kind of videos. and you're all competing for the same small amount of people, and you slowly devolve into irrelevance. It slowly dies out. It slowly goes further and further into irrelevance. Less and less people watch, less and less people care, and then your channel just kind of dies out, and you go out with the whimper. People barely even notice.
Of hatred, you will become you will lolcow yourself pretty much, because like it or not, a lot of the people who oppose my worldview, a lot of the people who oppose me, end up doing a lot of. So you're aligning with a lot of horrible people, and sometimes that might feel welcoming, sometimes that might feel comforting, because who doesn't want affirmation, right? Everybody wants that. Everyone wants a sense of community. Everyone wants to feel loved, and everyone wants to find agreement, right? But
all right, chat. I feel like that's a pretty good place to stop. I think I've said everything I want to say. Oh fuck! I didn't mean to close that. I've said everything I've wanted to say. Ethan Klein is a fucking loser. He has no juice, and he refuses to confront Destiny, even though Destiny says he's a pedophile. It said so 2 days ago. All right, chat. Let's get. Let's move on to some more political content, the good stuff. Nancy Pelosi new campaign. Gavin Newsom 2028. Like this, ladies and gentlemen, is, I don't want people to think I support Gavin Newsom. This is the anti-Bernie. This is the anti-Bernie world we live in. Jeffries got owned
with impunity.
Representative, may I?
Yes.
I'm going to give you some numbers. Just today, it came out that ICE is using $38 billion to convert warehouses into camps. I'm going to call them concentration camps. Your colleague, Representative Raskin, went to one just yesterday in Maryland and said there were 60 people cramped like sardines in one room who only had access to one. 65% of people taken by ICE had no convictions. That's from the Cato Institute, a right-wing institute.
Actually,
ICE
it was higher than that. It was 85, not 65.
Has killed 8 people this year alone that we know of. 2 of them, Renee Nicole Good and Alex Pretty. The latest polls came out this week, AP polls. Over 60% of Americans now disapprove of ICE. That means in 3 weeks, it's gone from 30% to 60%. Now, if I may, I'm going to be a bit blunt here. Leaders lead. And what we've seen is people are impressionable. If you lead on something, people will follow. It seems the wind is behind your back for the first time ever. ICE has a history. CPP has a history of terrorizing Black and brown communities. People are asking themselves, why are we, our taxpayer dollars, paying for masked, lawless men to terrorize our communities, kidnap people, take children, and kill Americans? So I ask you, and I'm doing a following up to Joy, because I want an answer to this. You said you want to rein in ICE. I'm talking about the long term now. Why not lead and say abolish ICE? Because what you're telling us is you want our taxpayer dollars to pay for a lawless masked armed agency to continue terrorizing our cities. And I'm trying to figure out how you, as a leader, can be telling Americans that their taxpayer dollars should be going to ICE.
I don't understand anything that you just said. I don't understand anything that you've just said to me when I've made that taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for the American people, not brutalize or kill them. That's the whole reason we're in this fight right now. That's the whole reason the DHS is getting ready to shut down. That's
so
the whole
abolish
reason
ICE.
why
You agree with me, Joy? Abolish ICE.
Listen, I'm going to use the language that I want to use. You can use the language that you want to use. And the language that I'm using right now relates to these type of bold, meaningful, dramatic changes that are designed to save lives now in communities that look like the ones that I represent. And that's the goal.
So let me ask you this. Yeah. And I hear what you're saying.
Every single Democrat together in the House and in the Senate is what we're trying to do to give us the best shot to win this fight now while we're in the minority.
My question, though, is more about.
They all think Joy Gray is going to go on and do her MSNBC bit. They don't realize that she's become radicalized. Joy Reid has become radicalized. This is one of the more interesting. So they're all getting tripped up by her because they think she's going to do MSDNC shit.
Do you have one last question? I have one last question. Do you? Because I want to make sure that we.
Well, I
get
do
our
have
next
one
guest
question
on.
about accountability, and you know, I'll put my cards on the table. I'm against fascists and MAGA and Donald Trump, and I want Democrats to win, but I want the right Democrats to win. And I remember the YouGov poll that came out after the 2024 election said the main reason why Democrats stayed at home was their displeasure with the genocide that's happening in Gaza. And what we've seen is AIPAC. AIPAC now has spent $2 million attacking a moderate-leaning Democrat, Tom Malinowski, a Democrat, in the special House election in New Jersey 11th District, and we got a progressive Latina, Representative Mejia, who won, who, by the way, says abolish ICE. My question for you, if you're looking for accountability, if you're looking for change, Democrats, stop taking money from AIPAC that has spent so much money against Democrats.
Well, listen, everyone's going to have to make their individual decision. My view, as it relates to Democratic incumbents, first of all, is that I will continue to stand by every single one of them, whether that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on the one hand, or the most conservative moderate.
By the way, this is their fucking strategy, by the way. Their strategy is to be like, we have a big tent, but the people in charge of the circus, they're all right-wing Democrats that take AIPAC money. That's the fucking game they want to play. They want to have a big tent, but the guy with the fucking whip is the guy who supports Israel's genocide. And it's like, nah, you're marginal. You moderates, you're the more fringe people. You're the one, you have 5%. You're the fringe people. You should be hanging out at the edges of the tent. You're fringe. You're fucking fringe. Nobody likes your shit. Nobody supports your shit.
Democrat on the other who's sitting in the Trump district and at all points in between, right? That's what I'm going to do as House Democratic leader. Now, in terms of how people individually fundraise, I'm proud of the fact my average contribution amongst.
By the way, Chad, this is propaganda. Average contribution doesn't mean anything. Let's say that I'm a rich fucker and I want to lower your average contributions. I could go to you and I could contribute 100 times $20. Instead of just giving you a $2,000 check, I could just do it 100 times for $20. And now you could say my average contribution is $20, but it's all from me. It's all from me. It's all from one guy. And you know it's all from me. You total it out and say it's $2,000. Mike from PA gave me $2,000. So this is this average contribution shit is bullshit. They have gamed this. They started gaming this after 2016 when Bernie Sanders was legitimately getting grassroots funding of an average of $27. They started gaming the system by telling their big donors to donate $1. You're like, well, before you do a big donation, can you donate $1 50 times? Smaller dollar contributions make up only 38% of his total contributions. And by the way, he has control of the DNC's email list. He's blasting every wine mom who has the DNC email list. And so he is getting a bunch of that money. If you take out his DNC, being the minority leader, the DNC holding the lists, this motherfucker gets almost all his money from big organizations and PACs and big donors.
The millions of dollars that I've been working hard to raise for my own reelection that I use to help elect Democrats in other parts of the country is $27 contributor. That's my average contribution. That's probably the lowest in the Congress. And so now everyone is going to raise money from their own constituents in different ways, and their own constituents are going to have a variety of different perspectives on a variety of different issues. But make no mistake, there's a big difference between Democrats and Republicans, and we're seeing that right now. I know some people like to project otherwise. How one can see the horrors of what has been inflicted on the American people since January 20th of last year and conclude otherwise, or want to try to suggest that there's no difference in one's quality of life. When I go to Bedford-Stuyvesant or Brownsville or East New York or Canarsie or the West End of Coney Island, people know that their life is being made marketedly because of who's in office right now, both in the White House and the House.
Well, Representative, respectfully,
and we're determined to do something about that.
Just a quick follow-up. So that means, will you stop taking money from AIPAC?
I'm going to continue to raise money in the same way that I've been raising it, where the average contribution from millions of people across the country is $27 contributor.
We are out of time. I had more questions, but we have to get our next guest on. Thank you so much, Representative Hakeem Jeffries. Please come back because I have some more questions about gerrymandering and about the November election protection, but I have kept our next guest waiting too long. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your time.
Look forward to it.
Thank you. Let me bring on.
He's such a scumbag. He's such like only a corrupt organization would put him in charge. And he's in charge because Nancy Pelosi groomed him. And I've been talking about it. And I even talked about it in the Majority Report 5, 6, 7 years ago. Do people fall for what Jeffrey said? No, he's very unpopular. He's a very unpopular politician. Oh, wow. His top contributor is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. And then his second most popular, biggest contributor is Paul Weiss, who's a Zionist. His third most popular contributor is Pro-Israel America PAC. What's really cool about Open Secrets is you could go into PACs. Oh, hold on. Contributors. All right. Lockheed Martin, Blackstone, Microsoft, BlackRock, Comcast, NORPAC. I think this is a military industrial complex, isn't it? Notice how they do 50-50. 51% Republicans, 48%. I'm pretty sure NORPAC is like a defense contractor. Oh, never mind. It's the bipartisan pro-Israel political action committee. Oh, it's another fucking Israel. It's another APAC. I'm sorry. I thought for a second I'm wrong. Israel, big corporations, military industrial complex, one union, Lockheed Martin. Oh my God, dude. Goldman Sachs, National Association. This is honestly, there's only one thing on here that it wouldn't be this is identical to what a Republicans would look like, except for SEIU. SEIU is the only contributor he has of his top contributors that you wouldn't expect to see at a Republican. This is basically just a Republican's financing, except one thing, one union. That's fucking crazy. His PACs, 75% business PACs and only 18% labor. This is why the Democratic Party's cooked. That's incredible. That's fucking incredible. Holy shit.
All right, the Trump regime has ICE, and
okay, I want your guys' honest opinions, especially the people that disagree with me on this. AOC 2028. What are your thoughts? I will tell you my thoughts, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts. And I want you to really think deeply. More than just yes, no. I want you to actually think about what you're talking about. And preferably, I want you to give me a real alternative. And I'm going to tell you who's not a real alternative. And I'm also going to explain something to you, chat. If you're like, no, I don't like AOC, I want Rashida Tlaib. I want you guys to understand something. Rashida Tlaib will be one of AOC's most important surrogates and supporters, and will probably endorse her on day one. That also includes Summer Lee. Okay, so if you're saying like, no, I don't want AOC, I want Rashida Tlaib or Summer Lee, they're going to probably endorse her on day one if she runs. So I need you to understand that. So now that you understand that, think about that and then give your answer.
They want to fund it more. They are buying warehouses that they are going to turn into concentration camps. And the Democrats in power keep playing patty cake with this administration. And you have what I believe are fascist collaborators in the upper tier echelon of the Democratic Party, because the resistance is so obvious. And it is so such a moderate position to abolish ICE. Yet Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer continue to play patty cake with fascists. And when you go to court, here's what happens. Put this up. According to Reuters, courts have ruled 4,400 times that ICE jailed people illegally, and it hasn't stopped. ICE is still continuing. So we have three branches of government. We have the executive branch, who wants full-blown ICE. I believe they are going to use ICE as a voter suppression tactic and scare force on Election Day. And then you have the legislative branch, which the Democratic Party in the legislative branch has all but just given Trump a green light to continue with this insanity.
Here's the thing. We see court rulings against ICE and against the Trump administration, like in droves. They do what they want anyway. They do not give a shit about breaking the law. There is no checks and balances because they're willing to break the law to do whatever the fuck they want.
Okay, and then here's Chuck Schumer on CNN. And if you notice,
I believe she's the true path forward to get a Rashida Tlaib or Summer Lee in the future. She's a necessary step in the right direction. I just want you guys to know that they're all going to support her. Like, that's not a real alternative. Those are her closest allies in Congress, and she's the most famous one. She's the one who has the most juice and the most name recognition and it is the most prestigious leftist after Bernie. Now, I have disagreements with her, but that's the state of reality. And there isn't anyone who's better than AOC. If you're not supporting AOC, it's because you think that the party is too far right and you're going with someone who is more to her right because that's the only person who could win. That's the only legitimate position. If you're like, no, we should support someone else, then you're pretty much surrendering already. AOC will endorse Gavin Newsom at the end. Are you going to vote for him? She's going to beat him. Gavin Newsom has got so many unpopular positions, and he's not charismatic. The only reason people are kind of saying Gavin Newsom is because they saw some of his social media posts, and they're desperate for anyone to dunk on Trump. Not a real support level. Like what the fuck are you talking about? It's the same thing with Kamala Harris. She just has higher name recognition because she just ran. And normie Democrats are like, okay, AOC, like, come on. I want you to assume also, if you don't want to support AOC because then when she loses, she might support Gavin Newsom. That's not a reason not to support AOC, by the way. That's not a reason not to support her. That's a reason for her to beat Gavin Newsom so that she doesn't have to make that horrible decision. Do we vote for a milquetoast Dem, or do we allow another 4 years of fascism, which is incredibly dangerous? Like, that's not an argument. AOC Plattner, and we'd be very likely to get a revolution, 100% labor. Okay, we're not necessarily going to get a revolution. It's more about, I want to live in a world where the Green New Deal is being debated, where we're all fighting over exactly how much money is going to be spent on high-speed rail. Are we going to build 10,000 miles of high-speed rail, or are we going to build 5,000 miles of high-speed rail? That's the debate I want to have, okay? I don't want to be having a debate about whether we should support Zionist A or Zionist B, or whether we should have, I want us to be having debates about whether we should have social housing that's co-ops, or whether we should have social housing that's public housing and owned by the government. I want to have debate on whether we should have a single payer, or if we should have a national health service where doctors are employed directly by the government. That's the debates that I want to be having. No, but it's a reason to support Newsom. You used to leave support of AOC as a reason to support her. Because are you stupid? I think you're actually dumb. If AOC were to be defeated in the primary, that's different than Tlaib will support AOC off the jump. Those are completely different arguments. What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Also, like the disagreements with AOC over like the finer points of foreign policy, like, you know, whether she says Maduro is popular or not. Are you stupid? This is exactly what happened to Bernie Sanders in 2020. They were like, remember when he spoke out against America? He was in the room when somebody said, Yankee go home, or whatever the fuck. It's the same shit. You're just performing for other leftists. You're not actually looking at what American foreign policy currently is and what AOC's foreign policy would change it to. AOC saying, I want America to be subject to the International Criminal Court. And you're like, the UN, that's just a puppet of America. That organization has no teeth. She's campaigning on giving it teeth. And you're like, no, it doesn't have teeth. The point is, she will give it teeth. That's what she's campaigning on. She's campaigning that Netanyahu would be prosecuted in the ICC by giving it teeth. That's like, what? Also, and this is very important to point out, Africa fell not because America came out and said, we're going to invade South Africa. It's because America came out and said, we're no longer supporting the apartheid state. We're withdrawing our protection from the apartheid state. We're not giving it diplomatic cover. We're not giving it aid. And then it collapsed immediately. That's what we need to do for Israel. That's what, man, there's been a lot of brain rot, huh? AOC has a real shot if she drops the DC politician rhetoric and tone. What the fuck are you talking about? She was literally at the anti-oligarchy tour, ranting and raving about how we need to raise taxes on the billionaires and how it's a genocide. What do you mean Washington, D.C. speak? What are you, what? That's my fear. She's too meek. She folds under zero pressure to the establishment and isn't the best communicator either. That's why I'd prefer Lee. But alas, she doesn't have AOC's name recognition, but she sure as hell would get rolled in poly negotiations. Oh boy. I'll level you with you as a DSA member, Latino, combat veteran, USAF retiree. I want to see a strong white nominee coming out in support of our migrant communities. I hate for AOC to be the vitriolic punching bag of the right at such a young age. I got to tell you that is the mentality that has led us to this point. I'm going to bring up Obama just to like get your guys' minds right. Barack Hussein Obama had been a senator for 2 years when he ran for the presidency. He was unqualified. He had no foreign policy experience. He had spent almost no time in DC, and he ran for office and he won. And not only did he won Indiana. He won Iowa. He won Florida. He won North Carolina. Now, I'm not saying that it's because, and he ran as a progressive, a faux progressive. He was the fake progressive that you guys are so worried about. We already experienced that. He never said Medicare for all. He never said cut off weapons to Israel. He had a very weak healthcare policy where he was talking about a public option, but it didn't have a mandate. But because he was the young, different, non-white alternative to a collapsing establishment, he fucking won what is the best victory we've had in a long time. So the idea that this country would just reject AOC, who is significantly more white passing than Barack Obama was, it's just nonsensical. It's just nonsense. You guys have been brainwormed. 45% of people are never going to vote for anyone on the left. They're just called Republicans. Stop worrying about what that 45% will or won't do. They're fucking losers. They voted for John McCain. Just accept that. You are not like, stop worrying about that 45% of Republicans. They're fucking worthless. And start thinking about the people that are sitting on the sidelines that will turn out. And this isn't a maybe. Like if you look at, and this is important. I'm having this conversation the way I'm having it, not because I like AOC. This is not about me liking or not liking AOC. It's about me talking about reality, me talking about where we are politically and recognizing that she is our candidate. She is going to be the candidate in the leftmost position in 2028 that has got a chance of actually winning. That's it. And a lot of the criticisms of her, some of them are fair and some of them are nonsensical. And one of the things that are nonsensical is I don't like AOC. I like John Ossoff, the Zionist, John Ossoff, the Zionist, Andy Bashir, the Zionist, JB Pritzker. Are you okay? I'm worried that AOC might compromise with liberal Zionism. That's why I'm supporting a Zionist. What? Laken Riley Act, John Ossoff, voting for Donald Trump's appointees, John Ossoff. AOC's close friends are liberal Zionists. They will staff her campaign. Saying AOC has some alliances with somebody like Brad Lander, who wants to control weapons, which, by the way, I don't like Brad Lander. I'm not a Brad Lander supporter, but there's a big difference between Brad Lander and Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu, do you know what Gavin Newsom did after October 7th? Gavin Newsom ran to Israel. Gavin Newsom traveled to Israel October 20th, 2023 to slobber all over them. As I reflect back on the extraordinary people I just met today in Israel, I am reminded of the deep connections between my home state and this country, a country that has faced many dark times before. It certainly is in one now. But amid this present struggle against terrorists are stories of unimaginable heroism and unspeakable tragedy. I grieved with families in mourning. I met with young soldiers fresh from bomb shelters and battlefields and sat with leaders who bear the response to it all. This is who you're talking about as an alternative, and you're comparing this to AOC. Are you fucking okay? I think you have, again, and this is what social media brain rot does to people. You create a bubble, and then, listen, AOC is a fucking politician. It is what it is. She has bad takes. I yell at her all the fucking time. But then you start saying you're gonna throw shit on her for this? Our opponents are not dumb like you are. Our opponents are fucking disciplined. Our Zionist enemies understand that AOC represents a sea change and an existential threat to Israel. They get that. Why don't you? How come our enemies understand how important it is to stand up against AOC and you are like, yeah, that's right. Stop with your cucked mentality and get disciplined and understand. Yeah, I want AOC to say invade Israel. If she said that, I would be barking like a dog. But the American people aren't there yet. And the funny thing is, if the American people got their way, Israel would fall. That's what you don't get. That's where your analysis fails, is if the American people got their way and we stopped giving billions upon billions of dollars to Israel, the apartheid system would fail. If the ICC actually was able to operate, If the United Nations could prosecute war criminals and they be brought to justice, Israel would fall. So stop doing this LARPing shit about how much you love Hamas or whatever the fuck. Get honest and truly involved in the real enemy of Israel, which is cutting off their lifeline. They're like South Vietnam. Without America's lifeline, it'll collapse. The indigenous resistance will win. Can you do your job and cut off the umbilical cord? Stop acting like a white savior and stop shoveling hundreds of billions of dollars to Israel. Do your job. We have Claudia Sheinbaum in Machismo, Mexico, and we're still peddling this talking point. If you believe that leftist policies are key, they will vote in spite of their misogyny. Is America ready for a woman president? Of course they are. They just haven't gotten one worth a damn. They haven't gotten a woman candidate who's worth a goddamn. That's the problem we're suffering under. And like, listen, it's not even a debate. Look what happened with Zohran Mamdani. He started at 1%. He had no name recognition. He had no support. I posted a picture. There it is. Registrations, cumulative new voter registrations. And this is New York City. This is the Zohran Mamdani voter registration. They turned out literally 45,000 new voters for an off-year mayor's race. And it isn't. And by the way, again, I need people to stop. Like, if you're going to read, I need you to understand the historical context of that theory. I need you to look deeper and understand reality far better. The conditions that led to the Russian Revolution, the conditions that led to the Chinese Revolution are not ones that are mapped onto the developed world. You need to read Gramsci. You need to understand, and this is something that I've been talking about before. It's called a war of position versus war of maneuver. Gramsci enters the debate making a distinction between a war of maneuver and a war of position. The concept of class struggle as war. Okay, this person is running. The idea is we need to change the cultural conversation where our ideas are the common sense ideas. You think that we're ready to launch some fucking big revolution when American people don't have class consciousness yet. They don't understand that the struggle is between the rich and the poor. They have a vulgar Marxist conception that the rich are getting an unfair advantage, but they don't have an actionable political consciousness. That's what we're trying to build. We have to undermine the institutions of civil society that uphold bourgeois dominance. And that's what things like the reforms that we're fighting for will do. And in the process of fighting for them, the contradictions will be sharpened. That's what people don't get, is you can't skip steps. We can't we can't push a socialism button. We can't push a communism button. I wish. I've been pushing every fucking button I can. There were 1.15 million votes in 2021 for 23% of registered. In 2025, there was 2.2 million with 43.47 of registered for New York mayor. And that is what I'm talking about. Zohran Mamdani didn't win because of the voters that showed up in 2021. He won because he remade the electorate. 39% of people are sitting on their ass. They didn't even show up for Barack Obama. Lenin would have supported the idea of voting AOC for presidency to bring back American socialism. Don't say cringe shit like this. That's just cringe. Stop putting words in dead people's mouths. It's very cringe. Just shut the fuck up. I'm sure Lenin would have had vituperative criticism of AOC, without a doubt. But he would have also understood that organizations like DSA's growth are important. He would have been in favor of that, probably. But even putting those words in his mouth is cringe as fuck. I think one of the problems is that a lot of people LARPing. They LARP these old ideological fights as if they're real. That's not what's happening today. We don't have that political we don't live in those conditions that Lenin did. Our conditions are completely different. We're not involved in a world war right now where millions of people are dying pointlessly on a battlefield in the developed world and nobody can say why. We're not living in those. It's a different conditions, okay? We don't live under a czar. Okay, let's just try to stay contextual to today. Assad put up a video about this topic, and I'm in it, and I think a lot of people, and I think it's a good sounding board for what we're saying. It's not because I've abandoned or changed any position of mine, okay? It's because I recognize this has always been my position. I've always said it's gonna be AOC. I've said that for how long? 5 years now. I've always said it's going to be AOC unless you can show me someone better. Someone better has not come. It doesn't matter because reformism has already been tried. By that logic, so has revolution. I think one of the problems that people have, especially if they're neurodivergent, is the understanding of contingency. I think this is one of the problems that people have. Sometimes things are the right decision and sometimes they're not. Sometimes this tactic is the right tactic and sometimes it's not. That's why sports analogies are good. I'll give you an example. You're down 1 goal in ice hockey and there's 2 minutes left in the game and you've got a face-off in the opposing team's end of the ice. You pull the goalie and you add another skater. Why do you do that? Because losing a game by 1 goal is no different than losing a game by 2 goals. So the extra skater, if they marginally increase your chances of scoring, that is a worthy strategy. Now, does it make sense to start the game with no goalie? No, because the defensive losses of not having a goalie far outweigh the increased offense. So it's contextual. Does that mean pulling the goalie is right? It's always right to pull the goalie? No, it means it's right to pull the goalie at certain contingencies. It's the same thing as going for a 2-point conversion in football. Most of the time, kicking the extra point is the right call. But on certain conditions, going for 2 is right. And sometimes it's ambiguous. Sometimes going for 2 could be right, or sometimes it's not. It is a contingency. And I think a lot of people, when they talk about politics, they talk about it in a very simplistic, dumb way, where they're like, it is wrong to do this. It is right to do this. And if only we did this, we'd be in communism now. And the reality is, no. First of all, stop acting with so much certainty. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And second of all, you need to be more comfortable with the idea having to pass through certain experiences and certain stages. I'm not saying that there is a railroad track and we must go down this very specific sequence of events. It's just that sequences of events deliver us different outcomes. And there's an argument you hear a lot, and I want to debunk it because it's honestly really bad, which is if DSA supports AOC or socialists support AOC for president, well, then we're going to be distracted from doing the really important work that would win us socialism. I'm sure you've heard this argument before, and it's a complete fallacy. Can someone explain to me why it's a fallacy? Why is that a fallacy? Why is that a dumb argument? The answer is because having AOC or somebody like that run is going to increase our energy, not deplete it. Zohran Mamdani did not deplete DSA. He rejuvenated it. People wanted to join DSA after his campaign was over. People were rushing to join DSA because the victory gave them hope. It got them off the sidelines. It was the opposite. Instead of, Zohran Mamdani sapping the energy of the socialist movement, it brought a whole bunch of people that were curious in. It gave way more opportunities to radicalize new people. It made more people open to socialism, not less. It brought socialism into the Overton window. Sapped socialism and made it less relevant. It made it more relevant than ever. And that's the reality. And how do I know that? Because I was in the left prior to Bernie Sanders running, you fucking Johnny-come-latelys. I was there in the so-called, what we called ourselves, the progressive left, because the socialist left was dead. You know what we were doing in the socialist left before Bernie Sanders run for president? We were fighting defensive wars, trying to defend the last few labor rights. We were working in trade unions that were dying out, full of boomers, trying to protect pensions. That's what we were doing. That's what the left was in 2015, prior to Bernie Sanders. We were in a defensive crouch, losing. That's the reality of where the left was. Socialism wasn't even on the you would have gotten laughed at if you said you were a socialist in 2014. That's just a fact. Bernie putting himself out there representing socialism skyrocketed. The system being reactionary only made socialism more popular because of that. Yeah. And I have a lot of disagreements with Bernie Sanders. The one thing you cannot deny is that his campaign pushed the Overton window far to the left than it would have otherwise been. Can you imagine 2016 with no Bernie Sanders? Can you imagine Hillary Clinton would have ran on Hillary Clinton running unopposed to the Democratic primary? TikTok liberals are going after AOC. Hold on.
Is the best answer to run in 2028 and beat Gavin Newsom and/or Kamala Harris.
Bro, okay. New rule: do not send me liberals that have 100 like TikToks. You need to practice discernment. I have 4,500 people here right now. You're sending me shit, and you are literally quadrupling the viewership of that video. I don't give a fuck what some dumb piece of shit says who has no motion. Show me the stuff that people with motion are saying.
Liberal, 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 happy fun, la la la.
This is a good primer for you guys, I guess.
Mike, when did you stop using your soundboard? I didn't. I swear to fucking God.
If you give me power, I know how to use it. That's why I'm afraid almost of myself.
Right?
Chat, Mike is right.
That's just the way
Trump,
it is.
Mike is right.
The colonizer lied.
My Hassan, I honestly should send Hassan some of my soundboard clips. Instead of going fa or whatever the fuck zoomer noise, we should send him some of my clips.
Don't trust the liberals. They will betray you.
Graham died alone.
It feels like the left is unstoppable, and all those feelings are valid.
Shut the fuck up!
Like, these are so much better. Like, listen to my soundboard.
Executions in Central Park. Executions in Central Park. I did everything right and they indicted me.
Then die. What do we do? Argue with you? I'm not on the debate team.
Your brain is small and smooth.
Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward.
Like, I have so many good fucking, like, come on.
Both metaphorically and literally. Let's not fillet Nazis.
Oh my God, Sam Cedar making fun of Destiny? Holy shit, what a good hit. I forgot about that one. Be moderate. Moderate these fucking nuts!
Mike from PA, he's a tough guy.
Every single one of these are fucking bangers, dude. All my soundboard is such fucking bangers, dude. Come on. Mike's board, essay. This is an essay?
I really enjoy this guy's perspective, and he seemed to have like a huge amount of knowledge about electoral politics. Now electoral politics are way more interesting to me, and this guy seems to have like a good backing.
When I beat Destiny to debate, that's what he said. After Destiny and I's first debate, he was like, I mogged him so much that he was practically on his knees for me. If I had been a Nazi, he would have tried to go for the suck.
To the Munich Security Conference, where, you know, global leaders come together and discuss how in the age of Trump, they are going to restore the NATO Atlanticist liberal
Mike,
international
do you have a
order.
soundboard? No. I think anybody over the age of 30 who's trying to use the fa sound effect should be on a list. You're not allowed to use the fa sound effect if you can remember 9/11. If you can remember 9/11, you're not allowed to use that sound effect. You know what sound effect has been blasting me? There is some TikToker who just makes like videos of him in like very photogenic areas of the earth. And he has this like sound. Oh God, what's his name? You guys know who I'm talking about? He has this one like music sound and it's like very uplifting. Mega, yes, Mega's the name. Thank you. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This content creator. This sound is in my head. Fuck. Hold on, let me see if I can find a good one.
Just trust me, you'll be fine. And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me, I was in.
This fucking song. Oh God. It's so good. Honestly, I have to say, from a short content creator perspective, this guy's videos are like, he's perfected. He's like Gen Z's, what's his name? Casey Neistat or whatever the fuck. Oh, he used a different sound that time. He used a different sound. That's crazy. He doesn't usually make different, he doesn't use different sounds usually.
Just trust me, you'll be fine. And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me, I was in. Just trust
me. He's probably a millennial. Oh, that's probably true. Okay, where was I? AOC. Okay.
Now is the time for bravery, and that bravery extends to the likes of AOC as well. I personally believe that there's an opportunity here, a unique opportunity.
I was talking to Hassan the other day about AOC, and he's like, I'm worried that AOC will not be able to win because blah, blah, blah. And I was like, bro, who gives a fuck? Stop being like this. We're never going to have a better time than right now. This is another point that I need you guys to understand. It's never going to be better for us than right now. If you're waiting for a better time, it'll never exist. It will never, ever, ever, ever exist. 4 years from now, if Gavin Newsom wins, you think the left's going to look good? Do you think people are going to be like, yes, I want to have the left win now? I'm waiting for Rashida Tlaib. If Gavin Newsom were to win and win the presidency, then he's running for re-election. Another 4 years on. And then whoever's his vice president is going to be the fucking front runner. So, and then if he wins, and he'll probably lose re-election because he's going to be dog shit as fucking president. And the Democrats get swept out of power to like fucking Tucker Carlson's new Reich. You think we're going to have a chance again? You think it's going to get better if we don't go for it right fucking now? It is the left. This is it. This is it. Probably for the rest of your life. We're never going to get another chance this good. We got lucky that Joe Biden rotted out and had to drop out. And then Kamala Harris got her shot where she face planted. We got lucky that we got into this position. It's never going to be better than this right now. You need to accept that. And we can't wait 12 more years. The climate can't take it. The planet can't take it. We are not able to wait. This is it. This is fucking it. It's now or never. We won't have another shot till what, 2040? But if we lose, don't fucking lose. But what if we lose? Don't fucking lose. Jesus Christ. But Mike, what if we lose this battle against the Nazis and what will happen then? Fucking think about it. Don't fucking lose. I'm not going to be here to see it. We're leaving it out on the field. If you think we're going to lose, make sure you take one of them out with you. Go out in a blaze of glory. You know why? You know, I was watching the new Game of Thrones show, and they had a quote from a guy who betrayed the character, but the quote was still a banger. He said, "Why does it seem like the universe, or why does the world haunt honorable men? They have a chance at greater glory." That's the fucking answer. Oh, what if we lose? Oh, shut the fuck up. If you're so worried about losing, go join the other team, and then you can lose to me. Go tell them, well, what if we lose to AOC? What will happen to neoliberalism? What will happen to Silicon Valley if we lose? Go over there and start crying about losing.
To make necessary changes, AOC had...
We don't have enough numbers in Congress. The CIA runs this country. They won't let AOC win. And even if she did, she won't be able to make the change we want. That's just the reality. We need to stop pretending this country's electoral system is going to pull out of this spiral. I mean, first of all, let me just say, very good analysis and argument. Very good analysis and argument. And it does concern me quite a bit that we have an intelligence apparatus that is so firmly treacherous and clearly fascist. Yeah, I'm worried about the secret police. You're right. You're absolutely right. What's the best way to contain the secret police? Elect one of them? And I want them to be forced to come out. I want them to be forced to come out and do some radical shit. I want the secret police to, you know, expose how deep they are. How corrupted. It's like the Jeffrey Epstein list. You could have predicted exactly what's in the files prior to the files ever being released. But the files being released causes people and their perspectives to change. Here's the thing about me. I will never give up. If it's just me hiding in a fucking decrepit sewer pipe, looking for my chance to pop out and do damage, then that's what I'm going to end up. I don't give a fuck. I'm never giving up. As long as I'm alive, I'm not giving up. And if I realize that I'm going down, I'm taking as many of these motherfuckers with me, metaphorically, as possible. I'm literally like, you're talking to someone who's not built to lose. Losses are temporary. You need to be like the old leftists to the deaths we organized. Do you know how many people died to win the fucking Chinese Revolution? Don't you guys? I show you guys every morning to remind you. Every fucking morning I remind you what real struggle looks like. Do you forget? Do you forget? This isn't Gaza. This is China. This is China facing off against the Japanese, and they were being defeated constantly. Humiliated. Starved, and it started out with random guys.
中华文化觉醒之火，趁势烧起来。我们穿的衣 我们住的房，哪样不是劳动者所创造的呢？同学们，历史的重要时刻就要到。无论是谁，要是敢亡我国家，灭国主义。
Complain about AOC than Gavin Newsom because AOC has juice on the internet. Gavin Newsom doesn't. Right-wingers are not scared of Gavin Newsom. They're scared shitless of AOC. That's the answer, by the way. And also, men are psychosexually fixated on her because she's a beautiful young woman. That's literally it. She's 36 years old. Like that, I mean, it's that is it.
我们就跟他们决战到底！起来，结汗交迫的努力；起来，全世界受苦的人。
Look at these nerds.
满腔的热血已经沸腾，要
根据民主人数，我们将选举产生中国共产党中央局成员。
旧世界，大河落花流水，奴隶们起来，起来！
Like AOC might not be as popular on a certain part of Twitter.
不要
How can we win?
来起来！
AOC's getting roasted in the retweets.
我们一无所有，我们要做天下的主人。武装斗争，这是最后的斗争，团结起来，到明天，赢得那熊奈儿。
Listen, you know, they only marched 3,000 fucking miles with no food, being pursued by an army. But AOC is getting roasted in the retweets. Why aren't you giving up yet?
这是最后的斗争，团结起来，到明天，赢得那熊奈儿，就一定要实现。
If I can't retweet socialism, then I might as well give up.
同胞们，中华人民共和国中央人民政府。
Did you see Asmund endorsing the Restore Britain party? Reform is right there. He's so dumb.
今天胜利了。
从来就没有什么救世主，也不靠神仙皇帝，要创造人类的幸福，全靠我们自己。我们要夺回劳动国，让中国牢笼，快把那炉火烧得通。 我们的目的一定要达到，我们的目的一定能够达到。团结起来，到明天，赢得那熊奈儿，就一定要实现。这是最后的斗争，团结起来，到明天。
The imperialists had to hand over Hong Kong. And to lower the Union Jack.
Para guardias to the city of Beijing.
So agrees.
现在这个 you gotta see those recognize. Being defeatist in America is insane.
实现中华民族的伟大复兴，就是中华民族
近代最伟大的中国。
经过长期努力，中国特色社会主义进入了新时代。
共产党万岁！伟大光荣英雄的中国人民万岁！
And you could just see where they ended up, right? And where we started. And you're like, but Mike, are you sure the demographics are okay? The American people won't vote for a Latina or whatever the fuck you're saying. Less than 100 years. 180. 80 years. And they were fighting us every step of the way. Who are we going to have to fight? Who do we need to fight? Who are we struggling against? Ourselves? I like AOC and I'd vote for her, but we have existential crisis on multiple levels. And even if she won, the CIA will not allow this country to make the changes it needs to make. We have to expand more energy on topics like cyber, offense, and defense tech. I mean, first of all, I am very concerned about the intelligence and the military industrial complex, but they're corrupt and they're weak. And quite frankly, they've been contained before. Everything that's been done can be undone. And they're why do you think they're all mauling over Hassan or they're all mauling over TikTok? Because they're losing control. It's brittle. Why was every single fucking loser on the right and the left screaming about how TikTok was making everybody hate Israel? Because they understand their control is fragile. The mainstream media is falling off. I mean, how is AOC getting criticized by people for being she's not anti-imperialist enough. She's not going to Europe and saying dismantle NATO now. She's not saying Taiwan is Chinese territory. Like, that's the level that people are saying is the bare minimum now. The bare minimum is for her to run on reversing American hegemony in every area. And like, when we talk about Israel and America, right now, the United States of America treats Israel as its closest ally. That's our policy. I think people, and that was the policy under Biden as well. Don't you want that to change? Like, I mean, I'm like, it'd be one thing if AOC was just a continuation of some long time failure of progressive presidents who aren't delivering. We haven't won anything. When I found this stream 6 years ago, I would come here and get angry and depressed at how wrong everything I thought I knew was. Now I watch here and I realize how right everything I've learned is, and it fills me with energy. I'm glad. Listen, I'm not even like, the funniest thing is I'm not even the biggest AOC simp. I'm just telling you, 1, she's the front runner. 2, she's probably going to win. 3, it'll be good for us if she does. That's all I'm saying. I'm not even saying that she's enough. I'm not saying she's going to bring in socialism. I'm just stating 3 facts that I observe. She's popular. She's the most left-leaning candidate, and she's going to win. And the only way she doesn't win, it would be worse. If AOC doesn't win, it's not going to be because someone better comes along. And by the way, if I'm wrong on that, if someone better does come along and they're gaining a lot of momentum and it seems like everybody's rallying around them, I'll say AOC is insufficient. Vote for Magic Man. Trump is going to consolidate power. He's not going to have normal elections. I promise you that. And we're not preparing for the reality when that happens. We're still pretending like a normal election is going to happen. Here's my personal opinion. I think that I don't think that you're wrong. I don't think that you're wrong to be concerned. I'm concerned. Donald Trump is also dickless. Did you see how much they were scrambling after shooting one guy? Do you see how much they ate shit after shooting one guy? They are not the Nazi party, okay? I think we use a lot of Nazi analogies because you should. They're obviously trying to copy that. But this is, first time is tragedy, second time is farce. They aren't the Nazis. The Nazis had a hardcore backbone of Prussian militarists who had been engaged in intramural violence against Germans for literally decades. They had crushed a leftist revolution in 1919. Okay, there was a hard backbone and tolerance for violence on Germans by the state for the purpose of, interfering politically. These guys are fat and out of shape. They can't run a mile in 14 minutes. They can't do 15 push-ups. Anti-Zahid Hassan glazing? What does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Last week, 13 Palantir employees resigned and issued a public statement criticizing Palantir for normalizing authoritarianism under the guise of a revolution led by oligarchs. Last week, there was rumors of an internal revolt. Last night, unsubstantiated detailed claims of a full-on AI agentic system hacked their systems and got full access to everything. Maybe. That's interesting. Chat doesn't understand that the public still has full bellies and not under a visible boot. The contradictions are not sharp enough yet. Otherwise, we'd literally see militant labor union class. I mean, that's right. What I'm saying is the conditions are not ripe. Even though you can see them coming, even though you're right to criticize a lot of this shit, it's not that you're wrong. It's just the American people, the economy has not crashed. Food is still flowing. Fuel is still flow. Has your power gone out and stayed out and then not got fixed? Are all your shelves empty? Is your money worthless? Like, whether you like it or not, the system is still puttering along. Contradictions are firming up. The capitalists are overstepping, but the American people are aligning with us. I mean, the fact that I could play that video of China, the revolution of China. I could play a 4-minute fucking 5-minute rendition of the Internationale, and nobody goes, oh my God, tanky, 500 of you don't leave calling me a tanky, is a recognition of how much I've changed the conversation and how much all of us have changed the conversation. Help. Hassan is soundboarding with no regard for human life. This is urgent.
We gotta lock in Chinese. 兄弟，我们要专注。兄弟，我们要专注。兄弟，我们要专注。专注。专注。How say?
Lock in.
Liberal, 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 happy fun, la la la.
This is a good primer for you guys, I guess, to get into the Munich Security Conference where, global leaders come together and discuss how in the age of Trump, they are going to restore the NATO Atlanticist liberal international order.
Okay, first of all, it never went anywhere. Donald Trump has not destroyed the liberal NATO Atlanticist shit. NATO has not been dissolved. NATO has expanded. Donald Trump has just pressure on Europeans to get concessions that are extractive in nature. He's making them less of a partner and more of a protectorate. But there hasn't been any change. Like, what are we talking about? The fuck are we talking about?
Now is the time for bravery, and that bravery extends to the likes of AOC as well. I personally believe that there's an opportunity here, a unique opportunity to make necessary changes. AOC had a speech that she delivered and numerous takes that she had as the previous international rule-based order is collapsing with Trump's gangsterist, dangerous, vulgar imperialism directed not only at nations in the periphery, but also directed at American allies, longstanding allies, white countries. People are trying to figure out what to do. Let's take a look.
This is a moment where we are seeing our presidential administration tear apart the transatlantic partnership, rip up every democratic norm, and, really calling into question, as was mentioned by David Carney at the World Economic Forum, the rules-based order that we have, or question mark, do we have? And so I think one of the reasons why, not just myself, but many of our colleagues here, in fact, many Democrats that are here as well, is because we want to tell a larger story, that what is happening is indeed very grave. And we are in a new era, domestically and globally. There have been many leaders who've said we will go back. And I think we have to recognize that we are in a new day and in a new time. But that does not mean that the majority of Americans are ready to walk away from a rules-based order and that we're ready to walk away from our commitment to democracy. I think what we identify
There
is
is
that
absolutely nothing she's saying here that's even controversial. Americans clearly like Europe. They want us to be allied with Europe. That's just a fucking observation of reality. Like, do you have evidence to the contrary? If that bothers you, there's nothing she's saying here that's even controversial.
In a rules-based
commitment to democracy should raise any leftist antenna. Donald Trump is saying he wants to interfere in the election. Europe has had many autocratic regimes in it, like Spain and Portugal, that the United States was openly aligned with, who were fascist states that disappeared leftists. Commitment to a democracy is different than what America has supported in the past.
Order. Hypocrisy is vulnerability. And so I think what we are seeking is a return to a rules-based order that eliminates the hypocrisies around when too often in the West we look the other way for inconvenient populations to act out these paradoxes, whether it is kidnapping a foreign head of state, whether it is threatening our allies to colonize Greenland, whether it is looking the other way in a genocide. Hypocrisies are vulnerabilities, and they threaten democracies globally. And so I think many of us are here to say we are here and we are ready for the next chapter, not to have the world turn to isolation, but to deepen our partnership on greater and increased commitment to integrity to our values.
Just a 20-second follow-up, really, just quick. Are there any particular institutions that a Democratic administration would want to save? Like your voters, is it NATO? Is it the climate accord? Is it the Iran nuclear? Are there some things where, just give me a lily pad?
Well, you know, first and foremost, I think we need to revisit our commitments to international aid. Not just USAID, but the dozens of global compacts that this current Secretary of State...
She's talking about withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord. She's talking about withdrawing from the Iran nuclear deal. She's talking about withdrawing from a whole bunch of like normal shit, like international travel compacts, freedom of the seas, and just normal shit like that. USAID is literally CIA. You're talking to me. I got called racist for saying that. Are you
and President Trump have withdrawn
what
from?
Was I saying? Yeah, I was called racist for saying that exact thing. But there's also things that the United States did that also saved a lot of lives. So like half of USAID was terrible and half of it was important. We could just support the good part. Like we could start, or we could support international organizations that support the good thing. Like for example, if you're wondering what an example of that would be, it would be AIDS medicine for Africa.
They are looking to...
Chat just likes to repeat your talking points back at you. Yes, I know. I'm used to it.
To withdraw the United States from the entire world so that we can turn into an age of authoritarians that can carve out the world where Donald Trump can command the Western Hemisphere and Latin America as his personal sandbox, where Putin can saber rattle around Europe and try to bully around our own allies there, and for essentially authoritarians to have their own geographic domains. And it actually is the
By the way, I want to say something here that I think is important. What she doesn't call out by name here is just as important as who she calls out by name.
That's exactly the point. The fact that she's not calling out China is the point. It would have been very easy for her to go like authoritarians like Xi Jinping, but she did not say that. She specifically did not say that, unless I missed it, in which case I'll say she's a dumb as fuck for doing that.
I need you to understand, there's a country that is the #1 foreign adversary for the NatSec liberals and also the neocons as well. She did not say China. She did not say Xi Jinping. And she also did say genocide. So, you know, Israel's committing a genocide. So that's, you know, it's modest, but it's important.
Trans-Pacific Partnership, it is our global alliances that can be a hard stop against authoritarian consolidation of power.
This is, again, it left me wanting more, for sure. It left me wanting more. Absolutely. I mean, compare this to my impromptu speech, which is not exactly great either. Let's be real. I didn't maintain any brevity. I was very wordy. I had a lot of ahs and ums when I was talking in Canada about this exact same issue, right? About this exact same change that we're all seeing. I do have a different perspective than she does. Yeah, you're not a lawmaker. It doesn't matter. Again, now is the time for bravery. It doesn't matter that she's a lawmaker. Obviously, I can get away with saying whatever the fuck I want to. You know, like I'm not expecting her to be like, Mao Zedong has some very good ideas or some shit. Okay, calm down. But it's a good start, and we must expand on it. But I think the fundamental difference here that I need AOC to hopefully get to, Matt Duss to hopefully get to, is that the only way to combat the growth of fascism is through socialist organizing and is through the worker-backed movements that must grow in all of these countries. Because historically, capital is always aligned. Titans of industry have always aligned with fascism at a time when capitalism is in crisis. Fascism is seen as the stable option when liberalism can no longer control the contradictions worsening. And I think there is a real opportunity to make a coherent point here that will stick with a lot of people. And for the chatter saying, brother, it isn't happening. If Zohran Mamdani, a little fucking socialist power is coming out and shitting on Cuba's government, it's over. It's not. It's not. You'll see. I think AOC in the upcoming days will have a stronger stance in protecting Cuba and like releasing the sanctions on Cuba than Zohran Mamdani did. And hopefully it'll give courage to other people as well to come out. Hopefully one of AOC's weakest instincts, in my opinion, is whenever she gets any pushback whatsoever from a standpoint theory exhibiting, Cuban American reactionary, she will back away. Hopefully she'll say off and she'll keep pushing, because the reality of the matter is that's coming, right? She needs to know that that's coming. I think Zoran's statement on Cuba was disastrous. It was disastrous, but it's utterly irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. This kind of sentiment coming from AOC will give him more courage to speak on these things as well.
The one question I want to ask the U.S. is, if I'm in trouble, will you come and help me? Are you still an ally? Or do we need to really decouple or certainly de-risk? Your answer to that, Congresswoman.
Well, I mean, we are, of course, representing a broad spectrum of the United States here today. And I think...
I think this requires your attention. Look at logs. If I voted for Obama, it would be peer pressure. Hence, I abstained. Hell yeah, Obama. He put the bastard down. Any questions? Second vote. Hell yeah, he put the bastard down. What the fuck what are you trying to say? AOC is spitting. Okay, thank you.
We have to see here that we are seeing a pattern. Yes. And recognizing it allows us to draft and figure out the alternative. And that, again, it allows us to kind of break down those barriers and build these international...
You keep pushing for American hegemony and to stay on the hamster wheel voting every 4 years, which hasn't worked. First of all, I'm not pushing for American hegemony. I am noting its existence. And I don't think that arguing that the American, like, what you're supposed to go up there and say, American hegemony, I hate that. I hate how America has hegemony. Like, what are you saying? What are you expecting her to say? It doesn't even make sense what you're expecting her to say. American hegemony is true. So I want the people in power of America to not support genocide, not support intervention, to support international institutions that decrease America's dominance and increase the ability of the world to contain America. You understand that Donald Trump's world is a world of America unconstrained. It doesn't mean America's going to lose hegemony. This is why the bad empanada he's so bad at geopolitics. America unconstrained from the United Nations is not an America that's weak. It's an America that is abusing its position. And maybe it'll blow back. Maybe it will result in overextension. But we're talking about decades down the line, and millions of people are slain. Countless countries intervened in. Countless left-wing movements smashed. You need to actually understand what a global hegemon, bigfooting around the world, means for the left. Whereas if AOC is like, yes, I want to sign the Paris Climate Accord and I want to lift the sanctions on Cuba. Cuba right now is starving because Donald Trump is in the White House. Is that helping the cause of the third world left? Answer that question. Is Cuba being starved advancing the cause of the third world left? Is America giving $40 billion to bail out Javier Milei? Is that good for the global left? Is Trump threatening Claudia Sheinbaum with invasion? Is that helping the global left? Is the United States intervening in Brazil in favor of Bolsonaro's supporters? Is that enabling the global left? And that's the kind of problem is like, I understand that AOC getting elected will become instantly the leader of the American empire. There's no doubt about that. Donald Trump wants to spend $1.5 trillion on the military next year. That'll be tripling where it was when he left office in 2020. Do we want to triple the Pentagon budget?
Movements.
I think the problem that we have is that the average person thinks that the Democratic Party is what AOC is saying now, as opposed to what Kamala Harris was saying on her acceptance speech. Like, they think the Democratic Party is AOC, where it's like anti, you know, they want to, distance ourselves from Israel and support, peace with Cuba and Venezuela and China and re-enter the Paris Climate Accord and all these things. And that's not true. Gavin Newsom is likely to give Israel free F-35s.
That are necessary for resisting that erosion of democracy.
I think AOC does need a Daniel Bessner, because if she's going to traffic in narratives that Americans consider to be radical, she needs actually someone who is a well-read academic that is on the radical side. And the radical side is obviously the truth, right? Because no matter what happens, if you're a politician, the people that you have guiding you, you're going to have a more watered down version of what they're telling you. So if the people that are guiding you don't have the same, don't have a more radical vision than you in general, your output is going to be good, but it's not going to get all the way across the finish line. That's how I feel. People have brought up that Bernie had Daniel Bessner in his corner alongside Matt Duss, and that played this duality. I do think that with AOC, someone
He's going to do the same shit. He's going to do the same shit. AOC is going to have a coalition of various left-wing people. Some people are going to be to my right, significantly to my right. That's the way it's going to go, because the left is not strong enough in America staff the fucking government. That's the main crisis, is we have to build those institutions up that could actually run the government. And you know what happened? The same shit happened with FDR, by the way. The same shit happened with FDR, where they were hiring people that had no government experience, and everybody was like, oh, it's going to be a disaster. And it turned out to be the most successful administration ever because they didn't have government experience.
That would be great.
My question is
trapped.
So how essential do you think acknowledging the fact that the impunity our leaders have allowed Netanyahu's government is at its core a failed policy, and we have to do right by Palestinians in order to have any claim to an honest, morally responsible foreign policy?
If I spoke on this issue in the state of Germany, I would go to prison. I would just straight up say what I said in Canada. I would call it a Holocaust, and I would literally go to prison. They would arrest me for saying that. They would call it Holocaust denial, and I'd either get deported from the country or prosecuted. It's literally in the books. Holocaust relativization.
I believe that it is not a coincidence that so much political instability has transpired, as so many people have seen this happen, unfold before the world. But we cannot let this slide and descent.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally saying democracy cannot be seen as a system of governance that has yielded or oversaw the death and destruction of the children in Gaza. Okay, that's it. Because you can't maintain a pro-democracy position at a time when there's genuine fascist backsliding, where you give the fascists an opportunity to say, this is all hypocritical, this is all irrelevant, this is all wrong. After all, look at what Israel has done. Look at what America has done to the children in Gaza. That's what she's saying here. It's too wordy, unfortunately, and hopefully she can just chop it down a little bit. But she didn't say that. She said something more watered down. No, she did say that. What are you talking about? Okay, I'm going to say something quite controversial right now that a lot of people are going to lose their minds over, because I know, as someone who's been a big Bernie fan in the past, I feel discouraged by what Bernie has done in these last 2 years, and there's obviously plenty of criticism that I've dished out to AOC as well. AOC, regardless of her foreign policy acumen, is literally further to the left on foreign policy related matters than Bernie Sanders is. Nowhere near where she needs to be in comparison like Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib, but she quite literally is further to the left than Bernie is on foreign policy. Okay, Some people consider this to be controversial. The reason why I think people consider this to be controversial is because they don't like the vibes that AOC is putting out, where they just don't like the lack of confidence behind her words, or one reason or another. Now, I would say that Bernie Sanders had a longer track record on foreign policy that was infinitely more anti-imperialist, leading up into the 90s, that actually makes his current right-wing pivot post-90s far more.
Did you react to Hutch making his liberal squad with the lolly fan? Lolly fan, the person is an open pedophile. They talk about how they're a pedophile and they consume lolly in order to like control their urges toward children. Like what? By the way, optics advisor Hutch.
More awful. Bernie Sanders literally was like, I don't think we should be funding the Nicaraguan death squads. That's why I said into the 90s. Like, Yugoslavia is the one time where his position actually, like, post Yugoslavia, Bernie Sanders is
it was like one of the Destiny orbiters. I can't remember their name. It's not really even relevant. But after almost every Destiny orbiter abandoned him following the Pixie lawsuit when he was being sued for the revenge porn leaks, and all his orbiters left. They were like one of the few food shops was one of the only people that were still defending him. And so they tried to like astroturf this person. It was pretty embarrassing.
Attitude, I think, became very different on American foreign policy. And even then, that is nowhere near as like controversial as like people who love Parenti present it as. Bernie has more rough blue collar style, while AOC is very academic or community organizer type, and it reminds people of Rad Libs. Yes, I think AOC's biggest problem, well, she is also a brown woman, okay? So there is always that as well. Like, let's be real. I'm not getting into, like, I'm not saying that's the only problem, but in the way that people receive her, that absolutely plays a role, right? Overall, though, I do think she gets lost in the weeds a little bit while trying to maintain this this like as even keeled approach as she can possibly come across as, and that becomes an issue. I know that I have the same problems. Let's be real, okay? I get too wordy sometimes. Actually, I see myself in a lot of her weakest aspects. I also think I get too wordy and pedantic and worry about like what the haters are gonna say in the back of my mind. So I'm constantly trying to channel like the most reasonable position I can. AOC addressing speculation about our political future. I remain ambitious, but my ambitions are about changing our political environment. The ambitions of a progressive movement go so far beyond an elected office. We are coming. Oh my God, that's so good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Come on. That's good. That's fire. That's the best thing. That's the best thing I've heard from her this past week. There were a couple good lines from AOC that I wanted to show you, by the way. This is specifically about the most vulnerable amongst us being responsible for all of the economic issues that we're facing. Okay.
That's the stuff that right-wing populist movements are made of. And that, of course, is all done as a distraction from the truth, which is that it is economic elites that are taking the lion's share of growth for themselves and leaving crumbs for the working class. So the alternative...
Who told him to put these sound effects in? Who told him to put the sound effects in? Whose idea was this? Honestly, we're gonna watch Hassan's viewership drop in real time from these fucking sound effects. I have no evidence, but I blame Austin. I'm going to text Austin and I'm gonna say, is this your fault?
The lie, which is that it is the most vulnerable in society that is doing this. The alternative is a populist movement that tells the truth. A populist movement that says, this is an injustice. You are being screwed over. And that story is not a cultural one, but a class one. And that it is a class one.
Oh, dude, she's right. Let's run that back. Let's run that back.
In society that is doing this. The alternative is a populist movement that tells the truth. A populist movement that says, this is an injustice. You are being screwed over.
Is he trolling? Is he intentionally trying to drive me up the wall? Chat, just walk into his house, smash the thing with a fucking hammer that makes the sound effects, and then walk out. That's all I'm gonna do. That's all I'm gonna do. Is I just walk in. I won't even say hi to the chat. I'll just take my hammer and I'll just bash that thing, and then leave.
And that story is not a cultural one, but a class one. And that it is a class one.
Just because the millennials leave doesn't mean the Zoomers are gonna come in. Okay? Just because the millennials leave doesn't mean Zoomers are going to be like, yay, fa noise.
That's right. Finally. And we got another one. Persuade the moderates.
Electoral movements, and we have to persuade moderate movements to
Okay, this one's going so long. We're persuading the moderates. Like this right now, brother. You need to stop. This is a new dawn. This is a new day. This is a new life. Okay. Yeah. When I say Sunday fun day, this is what I meant. Okay. Oh, you got a problem with what I'm doing?
We do not care.
That's right. I'm just saying. Don't make me get out the band hammer.
Remark on who Maduro was as a leader. He canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state and engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator. And it is not a remark on who Maduro was as a leader. He canceled the...
Who was he? Was a leader, canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean we can kidnap it. I mean, it's a far greater crime. Here she calls out the Dems. Ooh, I like that. Let's see.
I was told that I was an enemy of my party, that I was going to be the reason why the right won, that I was going to cause that the entire future of the country was in balance, and that I was the reason why we would lose. And what was hurtful about it was that they were telling...
Me too. I've heard that many times before. Let's be real. I have no idea what she's talking about, and neither does she. I love that these guys are so stupid to understand what she's saying, but then they assume that the person speaking is just as stupid as they are. Grok, what does class-based internationalism mean? Class-based internationalism is a political concept often from socialist or Marxist traditions that emphasizes solidarity and cooperation among working classes and oppressed groups across borders, prioritizing class interests over national, ethnic, and geographic alliances. In AOC's context, it critiques the pro-West policies that advocates for global unity against exploitation. Wow, this guy understood it.
He didn't cancel elections. They were questionable according to the Western sources, that there was some sort of like possibility of corruption.
And said, thanks for the explanation. Oh no, never mind. He said, often from socialist or Marxist traditions, they must be stopped in the election if we want the U.S. to continue to thrive for future generations, and that includes immigrants.
Okay, Chad, I have to correct AOC. Venezuela is not below the equator. In fact, if you see the equator, so that's Venezuela, right? And then the equator, it's just north of the equator. Just north of the equator. So that was a gaffe, an AOC gaffe. Hold on. Okay, you guys see that? It just north of the equator. Gaffe. What a gaffe. I have one thing to say to you, Mike. All right, that's it. Fuck this. Fuck this. Mike from PA wants everybody who likes that sound effect.
Then die. What do we do? Argue with you? I'm not on the debate team.
Put the glasses off! Put them on!
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Wild. Right?
Chat, Mike is
that's
right.
That's just the way
Trump,
it is.
Mike is right.
All right, everybody. I'm going to call it there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Solidarity forever, my friends. We'll be back tomorrow. Trump Tuesday. I don't know. It'll be something like that. Who am I rating today? I feel like nobody's been streaming lately. Like so many fewer streaming going on these days. Oh my god, TYT is so dead. 100 viewers. Oh. Who do I want to raid, chat? Who do I want to raid? Honestly, fuck it. Let's just raid Hasanabi. Might as well. And the raid message is, wow, we really like the soundboard. The average age of the Mike from PA stream enjoys it. We really like the soundboard. Keep it up. DSA raid. Okay, everybody. Stay safe. Solidarity forever. That's how socialism wins. Wow, we really love that soundboard. Keep it up. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow. Solidarity forever. Peace.